going on, people?
Welcome to Marital Hate. I'm Stacy.
You sounded so serious there for a minute. I'm Doug.
We're married.
We do not hate each other.
Not usually. Not tonight, at least. Maybe later. We're just kind of getting here. And we're sorry. We missed you guys.
We missed last night, and we apologize, but we had a blast.
We're going to get to that.
It was a good time and all kinds of stuff.
We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
So we do a live interactive podcast, and it doesn't matter if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can comment. We can bring your comments up on screen, and you become part of the community. And the people that, I like that angle. That was a fun angle.
Because I was, wow.
I like it when you're closer and I'm further away, and then I look skinny or something.
I'll just lean forward like a giant.
Ho,
ho, ho.
Why is it backwards, though? That's backwards.
I don't know. We can switch it if you want.
Okay, you fix it while I talk. So we do this live interactive podcast, usually Monday through Friday. And when you comment, you can comment, and we'll pull your comment up on screen like such. You become part of the show. And that's just like a dummy comment. And
yeah, because nobody's commented yet.
Nobody has commented tonight.
I should be concerned. Maybe they abandoned us after missing one night of podcast.
Well, here's the funny thing is we have Peter coming on tonight, which I'm super excited about, but I forgot to hashtag him.
Oh.
And then our hashtags tonight were like kind of a downer because I was stressed out about getting it done. So we're kind of a hot mess.
We're pulling it all together, folks.
But we'll eventually pull it together, and we love you guys. We're just glad you're here. Oh, Randall's here.
Randall is here. That's what
that's
what a comment looks like, baby.
Yeah, and Randall's one of our master. Well, I don't know if Tracy's
in training.
Official master hater yet. You have to ask Tracy about that. But Tracy's not here, so
our newfound friend Hookah Bob.
We love Hookah Bob. Hookah Bob,
he's bringing the heat. He's really coming in. He's bringing in strong. We love him. You kidding?
We're
he's
already,
a calming force in this.
We've been
chaos.
kind of back and forth with Hookah Bob about some social media stuff that he's done and some stuff we're doing. And I gave him some tips today.
As long as we're not back and forth with a social disease with Hookah Bob, that would be bad.
Do you think Hookah Bob has diseases?
No, I'm not saying he does, but I'm just saying that,
all I know is the man is legend. Love him. And in case y'all did not notice it, I'm going to bring this up in a second. So we met Hookah Bob at a Muck Sticky show.
Muck Sticky.
And we just absolutely love that motherfucker. He was so sweet. Well, what I want to pull up is this.
Oh, we're going to pull up something.
It's just cute. So I'm a little bummed.
Platy's here. Just saying hello.
Who's here?
Platty.
Platty, the pansexual platypus, is here.
He's polyamorous. Platypus.
Polyamorous pansexual platypus.
That's the best kind of platypus to be, I think. Right? Because there's not many platypus in the world.
I think all platypuses are delightful.
So you gotta.
Your puss is delightful. If you're watching this podcast right now, your puss is delightful. Randall's also over on Instagram too. We love you.
I was gonna say.
What?
No, I was gonna say. You were talking about your puss is delightful, and then you said something about Randall. I'm like, Randall does not, to my knowledge.
Have a puss?
Have the puss.
I don't believe he does. I don't believe he's having any puss right now. And things happen. So I wanted to just share this if I can properly pull it up.
Let's see.
So we met Hookah Bob at the Muck Sticky show, where obviously all the cool people, all the cool kids are there. All the cool kids are at the Muck Sticky show. And he was a delight, but he's a Muck Sticky super fan. We're Muck Sticky super fans. Why isn't Muck Sticky here with us tonight? I will never fucking know. But
he could be lurking.
Muck Sticky just shared a TikTok video, and
look who's on there.
It's Hookah Bob right there. Our boy is just going to town, so we're excited for him. We want to be in a Muck Sticky video.
Looks like we got our bonsai guy was in that.
Yeah, we love the guys from Bonsai. They're amazing. And Matthew Calvin's here. Hey, Matthew. And he says, Hookah Bob told me to watch you. Dude, we were just talking about how awesome Hookah Bob is. We're so glad you're here.
But remember that old George Carlin thing? Well, if Timmy told you to jump off the roof, would you jump? Remember the old parents would say that?
Yeah.
Well, if Hookah Bob told you to jump off a roof? Yeah, Matthew might, because I don't think Hookah Bob's going to steer you wrong. Man.
Hookah Bob's never steered me wrong.
No, not once.
He's my friend. I love that motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's like the dad I've always wanted, but not like old enough to be my dad. Or is he old enough?
I don't know. He's kind of like a fun uncle.
Hookah Bob, how old are you?
Don't ask him his age.
I asked Courtney. No. I asked Courtney if she takes in the pooper the other night. I can't ask Hookah Bob how old he is. I think I can. And Randall's here. He says, "Hey all, hey Hookah," and he says, "Hey P4, yeah, Polly the pansexual polyamorous platypus." gets a fair amount of
shout outs.
Well, everybody's just calling him P4 because that name's a fucking mouthful. And Matthew says, Matthew tells us that 65 is at your age or Hookah Bob's age.
Oh.
And Hookah Bob's going to be 61 in July. So how old is my dad? 58?
Yeah, so he'd be 66 this year.
So you're 5 years younger than my dad.
You're only a few years older than me.
But Matthew might be almost as old as my dad. So anyway, I'm looking for a daddy.
Sometimes you call me daddy, and
I just call everyone daddy just for like because I have issues.
Oh, we saw we saw a restaurant on the way home last night from the show, Shrimp Daddy.
We have so many things for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, last week we met Hookah Bob. We fucking love him. Follow him.
Now we got Matthew coming in.
Y'all feel free to just post your socials here. Yeah, he's bringing
not social security number. Your social stuff. We'll reach out to you. We'll promo you to death, and then you'll be like, no more socials.
Put your socials. We'll follow you back. When our socials are on the bottom of the screen. So there you go. We went. We've got so much going on. We do have a guest coming on tonight who I'm super excited about. I hope he got the link that I sent him. You should have the link that I sent him because I sent it. And then we shall see. We have
guests. We're nervous about guests because we had somebody that was supposed to be on. We're all excited. We didn't prepare for the podcast.
That happened twice now. We prepared for an interview.
Ghost.
And they go, and we've had 2 people do it to us now. And so tonight, Peter was like over prepared. And I'm like, dude, it's not that complicated. So like, it's literally like, we send you a link, you follow the link. When you come on screen, when we're ready, we pull you on screen. So when
he's an author, so he probably takes things like super serious and thinks this is like a literary book club. Oh, there he comes.
There he is. We can see Peter now. Oh, look at that. I can see him looking at his computer. Handsome fellow that he is. So we'll get ready to pull him up in just a bit, probably around 8:30.
Handsome me.
So Peter, we can see you, Peter, but we're not ready to bring you on yet. We got a few things to go over. And
if you're still here when we're done being nonsensical, you're in.
You're in. Hookah Bob says off the rails already. Dude, it was off the rails.
When I said you had a social disease. I think that's
it was off the rails then when Doug said you had a social disease, when I asked you to be my daddy. It's always crazy. I just wanted to share this. We have a guest book that's all faded and dirty that we keep in our guest
That's
room.
how many guests we have. It's like
we do have a lot of
toss
guests.
Around.
So anyway, we just got the nicest messages the other day. Thank you for showing us the beach and being such a good host, Doug. The cool uncle I never had from Slate. And then Annika said, thank you. She's a woman of
very few words.
But if you want to make her smile, just shower her in beauty products.
Cosmetics.
From Sephora. You give that chick $200 worth of beauty products. She's happy. That's all you gotta do. Just give her $200 worth of beauty products.
I think that's probably goes true for pretty much any chick.
And my beautiful friend Kristen, who said, I can't believe we finally got together in so many ways. It was like no time had passed. Hopefully it will make more. It will make it more than once a decade. You and Doug were so sweet and fun. Thank you for everything, from warm hospitality to your to yummy food and laughs.
And
love y'all, Kristen.
And great dad jokes.
May 2020. Oh my God! If you tell a dad joke ever again, I'm just going to beat you.
Oh, I found one of our old podcasts, and one of the clips I'm pulling off is that how dad jokes make your vagina dry up like the
Sahara.
The Sahara.
So what?
Ain't no getting in there.
It's weird because I guess Thursdays are usually our quiet night, but this is really
today's Wednesday. That's why you don't even know what day it is, and that's transferring back into the pod.
So we had last night we went to see, and we shared a picture of this today. We shared a picture of everyone today. We went to see Joanna Carner and the Wrecking Crew. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah. Joanna used to come and hang out at my house. She was in school with my brother. Just everybody would end up at my house.
She dated Phil.
Maybe not. We don't know. So, anyways, Joanna went on. She would come over the house and she played all these instruments. And at the time, she played sax. But she would teach me a guitar chord or two. Oh, there's a bird fight. Hang on. Okay, all right. Bird fight's done.
Are they fighting or are they fucking?
Well, probably a little of both. I don't know if you guys heard that. But
do you mind? We're doing a podcast.
Crazy. Okay. It's off the rails, Bob. I'm sorry. So, anyways, she would come over the house. Knew her when she was a kid. Whatever. She's gone on to embed herself in Chicago blues, and she is, in my estimation, probably the best slide player on the planet, slide guitar player. She's had a great musical career. She's doing well. Anyways, they were touring. They toured Florida, and we were able to catch them up.
Amazing
in Goodland, which is right at the entrance to Marco Island. So it's about a little bit over an hour 15 to get down there. Small club. was great to see her. First of all, this band was
unbelievable.
Every member of this band was an unbelievable musician. And from left to right, we had the bass player, which is
that is our pal Sean, Wrecking Crew Calloway. That's me, of course. That's Joanna. There's Doug, and then on keyboard is DeRay. It's actually not Delay, and Lil John on keys, and then we have J Rock Edwards on the drums. And
these guys were on there were some guys next to me, and he turns to me and he's like, I've been paying all this hundreds of dollars to go to concerts, and they're not even half as good as this.
Yeah, they're fucking unbelievable.
Him and his two buddies, one was his brother and the other buddy, the band would play something super tight, like and they'd stop on a dime. And these guys looked at each other in disbelief, and then they'd start high-fiving each other because it was so great. It was unbelievable.
Well, what for me, I mean, so it was, of course, I've heard so much about Joanna, but I talked to her a little bit, but I wanted to give Doug space to hang out with her.
Sat and
so I was
just
like, okay, I'm going to talk to other people. I was also kind of just trying to understand the music scene because, Doug recently released his first album, Doug Gear songs 1 through 10. You can hear it on all the music places. Like if you say, hey, Google, play Doug Gear songs 1 through 10, it'll come on. Or if you say, Alexa, play Doug Gear songs 1 through 10, it'll come on.
And if she doesn't, she's a bitch.
Sometimes she thinks he's Arlo Guthrie.
That's right. Sometimes I don't know why Arlo Guthrie comes up. It's nothing like Doug Gear.
So I've been interested in that, and I when Sean came over to introduce himself, we just instantly vibed, and it was so funny too because he gave me a handshake. Motherfucker's got some mitts on him.
Mitts on him.
He's got.
That's why he's a good bass player.
He's like clunk, and I'm like, damn, son. And so we got chatting, and come to find out, he's got 5 kids. And
he's just so chill.
He's super chill, and we waxed philosophical. You guys know how I love to do that. And we talked about life on the road, and we talked about following your dreams. And I just fucking love Sean.
Yeah.
And his so he of course, because they're on the road, that's like a rough time, right? And you're together all of the time, and they're handling it like fucking champs, but it's a lot. They have 2 more weeks left on tour. And we're together every day, but we throw some sex in there, we mix things up, we don't spend we ignore each other sometimes. You're not doing that with your band. And I mean, no, maybe you are.
Well, the gig is the gig is the thing, they say, when you're in a band, the gig is the thing. That's when, and just seeing the way they were just so in tune.
They were amazing, but it was just really interesting for me to talk to someone about their experience of life on the road. And I talked to the other guys too. And it was actually really funny. J Rock has been touring musician since he was 9 years old.
9, this drummer.
Are you fucking kidding me? And then what's his name? I'm totally forgetting. Dilby. Lil John, as they call him. He was on keys. He played the keyboard with his feet and his butt, and it was adorable. And he was just he was a quiet man, but he had a great sense of humor about him. And Joanna's just a badass, giving Joan
you said Janis Joplin
vibes, absolutely amazing.
Her guitar playing,
catch them out.
It's ridiculous. I can't even. So, I wanted to either go home and practice or throw my guitar in the pool because I'm not going to attain
nothing in between.
I can attain something.
And I do want to get over because we have a bunch of comments, and one of them in particular is important to get to. But I do want to just share this and give you guys a little chuckle. So you see this picture that we shared to the page. Well, it was originally a little smaller, not as much contrast. Oh. So Doug goes to edit it.
Oh, I took a screen of it. I couldn't find it. So it gives you color, saturation, and the last 3 options were blacks and whites. And I'm like, well, that's apropos for this photo because there was a little
half
bit
and
of
half. Yeah, a little bit of both. And it was actually really interesting. It was really interesting because we talked about we briefly kind of brushed over race and how we're all the same. And that it was interesting because we have some racial topics today. One of our hashtags is actually George Floyd.
Yeah.
Because there's a George Floyd art exhibit. And so, of course, this woman comes out and basically compared at the release of this George Floyd art exhibit, basically compared George Floyd to Jesus. I don't know that I want to do that. I don't think what happened was good, but I don't think we want to do that either. Nope. So I don't know, but I'm glad that I would like to move past that time in history. I would like us all to come together. Let's all be friends. Let's share love. Let's not commit crimes. Let's not be violent police officers. We've learned along the way that there are bad people in every group.
Yeah,
and
it's
we're
always
gonna
going to happen, but we gotta pull together and be stronger from it.
We want to bring people together. We're about nothing but love.
We want to be the glue.
I don't know if we're gonna be the glue because we just want to inspire people and bring people together. And so it kind of bummed me out because like here we are, like we had a great time. Like, of course, the guys in the band were like the 3 black guys in the room because we're in Goodland and it's not the most diverse.
Yeah, that
places.
wasn't very diverse.
But
down there,
God, were they fucking talented? And everybody, like, there was no issue with like anything there. Everybody was just like, check out these amazing musicians.
And it was funny to me because I knew how good they were from watching videos and stuff. But to see the room,
even under fucking stand.
To see the room was like they're at the bar and then the band starts playing and these people like tend to turn around and they're like.
Couldn't believe it. Unbelievable.
What are these people doing here? It was fantastic.
And I'd like to think that like music and our podcast both unite people regardless of where they come from, what color they are, what their gender is, or sexual preference. I don't know. That's something I'm really fucking proud of. And I'm really excited to have these new friends. I love that J-Rock told me that he was a flower child, and I love it. I'm like, do you have a family or anything? Like, girl, Chicky's like, no. And I'm like, I'm sure he's getting plenty of tail on the road.
I told him, like, he was having so much fun.
Talented, good with his hands. I'm sure he's getting something on the road, but he's a rambling man.
He's rambling.
I love it.
Can't time down.
I absolutely loved it, and it was funny because I never know with music, like if it's good. I always have to say to Doc, are these people any good?
Yeah.
And
I leaned over to her last night. I'm like, this is good, right? And she's like, oh, I get it now.
And you can just definitely check them out on YouTube, but we also have videos that we can show you at some point. But we do want to get through our topics today and get to our little friend Peter. We should probably give him a few minutes warning.
Yeah, we'll give you a warning, Peter.
We'll give you like a little 30-second warning and be like, here you are. So go to the bathroom now.
Well, he wasn't even there a minute ago, so now at least we can
popcorn,
see him now. So that's good.
Blow your nose, feed the cat. You got a couple minutes. Okay, so our hashtags. So the Wrecking Crew, they are in St. Augustine tonight, a little late for you to get there. They're going to be in Boca, then they're going to be in the Keys, then they're headed up to Virginia. Definitely check them out. I'm happy to share the touring schedule if that would help them out. So we're I'm having this idea that I want Doug to tour to support his album. And I'd like to do some comedy, but we do the podcast live Monday through Friday. So what do we do? And tonight it's really quiet. So I'm like, maybe
we should do a morning show.
Maybe we should start maybe we should not.
People can eat breakfast.
Maybe our podcast sucks. Maybe we should just jump out a fucking window. But no, here we are.
Wow, we'll figure it out.
I do want to say that normally I wear that NARS lipstick that I told you guys about. And my new friend, Shannon, whose mom, his best friend, her daughter is Nolan, our son's best friend. They just moved into their apartment today. She sent me this Color Street lipstick, and I like it so much more than the NARS. It's softer. It doesn't dry out my lips as much. It goes on easier. But I haven't checked it to see if it's like a healthy product. I just know that it's unscented. So Color Street lipstick, Joanna, that's your girl.
So here, it's much better than the Color Me Bad lipstick that you had in the early mid-90s, the boy band.
Because it wanted to sex me up.
It did want to sex you up, and it did not make any apologies. But it wanted.
They had other songs, didn't they?
Probably not.
We looked it up. I remember one day when you were living in Walpole still, we talked about Color Me Bad and we pulled them up and we listened to I Want to Sex You Up, and there was like a couple of other songs. And they definitely were not they weren't on the list of Apple's top 100 records. But Color Me Bad songs include I Want to Sex You Up.
Yeah. I Want to Sex You Up. Extended Dance Mix.
All for Love. And there was the Adore Me Amor, which was in Spanish. So they had like 3 songs.
They reached out. They couldn't cross over to the Spanish market.
But listen, Latino they made fucking bank on that song.
Let's go do it.
Let's see. Color Me Bad net worth. Because if you get national play on a record like that, they sold over 12 million records worldwide. Good for them.
I wonder if they did ever sex anybody up during
I'm sure they sexed up plenty of people. If you were we haven't even done Color Me Bad. There was the ugly guy in Color Me Bad. Does everybody remember the ugly guy? So
all those bands look the same to me.
Of course, we always bring up. We have been known to bring up an FMK, and here's the band Color Me Bad.
Oh, that guy in the back is. And I think we can all
agree that
you can't tell me that's not George Michael, Pauly Shore.
That's Robert Englund.
Joey Fatone and Stevie Wonder. Or
Right
no, Eddie
there,
Murphy as Stevie Wonder.
This guy
That might
right
be
there,
racist, but it's funny.
the second one is Robert Englund.
It is Robert Englund. Yeah.
Robert Englund.
Well, I'm not saying that
from Freddy
racism is
Krueger.
funny, but Eddie Murphy dressed as Stevie Wonder and then calling somebody from a 90s band.
He looks
that
a little bit
is
like
a good reference.
He looks a little bit like Chappelle's impression of Rick James.
Yeah, a little
Rick
bit.
James, bitch. All right, I'm gonna pull over to the comments again because we are gone down the roll.
I think we're
so we have Randall has come in. So of course Randall said hey to Hookah Bob said hey to Randall, and Randall said my grandma has hours, maybe days to live. Dude, I'm so sorry.
Sorry about that.
I'm glad you have your grandma with you.
Right.
But I'm so sorry that that's really hard. I don't think I've gotten over losing my grandma yet. That's the worst. I actually want to ask, so Randall, what's your grandma's name? We want to pray for her. Our new friend Sean, the woman who raised him, Ms. Lucille, is in a hospice and she's not doing well. So if everybody could pray for Ms. Lucille, and of course pray for Randall and pray for Joanna and the wrecking crew while they're on the road, because that's a lot. And like safe travels. And of course we pray for everybody every day. Send in positive vibes. And then Randall said, I see how you are. You still haven't. Wrong person text. So shit like that happens.
I'm glad it wasn't really wrong.
I wish you'd sent us a Nudie Judy. You wouldn't be the first older man who sent me a naughty video. Trey says, hello, peeps. You look wonderful. Girl, you look wonderful.
Oh, yeah. With you and your
but we know
your
you
little
do.
kitty cat.
Thanks for showing us your pussy.
And we shared it on the internet.
We did. We showed everyone Tracy's
little baby
pussy.
kitty.
Randall says, hey, Trace. And then, of course, Trace says, back to Randall. You guys are going to have to
do
those things on your own
we're
from now
going
on.
to
Stop
skip
reading
over
them
those,
off.
I think.
But the point is that if you're here night after night, you become friends with everybody, the master haters and the haters, as it were. And then Tracy said, I'm glad you guys had fun. And Hookah Bob says, I had 2 conversations. Baby, we're doing that all the time. Okay, so I just want to buzz through the hashtag so we can get to our little friend. We've got... Bill's Mafia. So did you see this? What's the neat? Keon Coleman is the new guy.
Yeah, it's a new guy.
So I didn't watch the video, but somebody said that like there's like concerns about him.
Still concerns about him.
Okay, fine.
He fits right in.
He fits right in. I like his energy, but he does give Ocho Cinco vibes, and he was a headbutter. Headbutter. But I don't think that Keon Coleman's a headbutter.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I reserve judgment until a later date. Apparently, Nikki Haley, who not so long ago said Trump was not fit to be president, has said she will be voting for Trump.
I think she's going to be elected president of whatever country. All these people said that if Trump becomes president, they're gonna leave too. Remember how that everybody
she's not
said
going to become president.
Nobody's going anywhere
because she said he wasn't fit to
That's right.
hold
she
office.
Did.
So
she
all
did.
the people that were like, I hate Trump, they're like, yay, Nikki Haley. And now you got and she had some theories that
and he called her bird brain. So for her to come around and say, yeah, I'm going to vote for him, just don't vote at all. Why don't you just go home, bird brain?
Politics
I'm not calling anybody names.
Fuck. They're all corrupt as fuck. It's all Fugazi. What's going on behind closed doors we don't know about. The Democrats and the Republicans in Washington, they're all friends. And you know what they do for fun? They fuck the American public, and not in a fun way.
And then you can't get an abortion if you need one. Oh, wait, I took that too far. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like abortion. I don't listen. If you've had to have one, I'm so sorry that you went through that experience, but I don't like it. I want everybody to have love. I want babies to come into the world in a place of love. I want everybody in the world, especially, of course, an unwed mother, to have all the support and love that they need. That's what I want. That's the world I'm trying to create here at Marital Hate. And that's why we talk about monster dongs on a semi-regular basis. So then the other thing trending was Blackbeard. Did you figure out what the fuck that was?
I don't. I could not figure out what that was all about, the Blackbeard situation. I don't know why that's trending.
I'll just search that shit up. Why am I?
I don't imagine that a pirate from.
Well, that's my point.
Pirate Days
It might be.
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Does it have to do something? S-Hawk had Blackbeard sweating.
No, I don't know what it was.
Football,
I researched it prior to the show. I couldn't find it.
Crew. We don't really know if anybody can tell us, because there's things that are trending in the world and we have no.
Yeah, we're just trying to hang on to this blue marble that's floating around.
Is it some sort of new currency?
No, I don't know.
Does anybody know what the fuck it is? We're just trying to be hip. Blackbeard released a fire.
We can only be
we
so
don't
hip.
know. But the problem
age.
is we're trying to learn about the world around us in a way that is not brainwashed.
Okay.
machine learning, and so we're looking things up and trying to learn ourselves. And
Right.
I don't know. So
Trying to
you
leave the
guys
world
know?
a better place.
I
So,
don't even
leave
know.
us alone. Thank you.
And Hookah Bob says Nicole is out to dinner with her sister and her dad. I was planning on singing her happy birthday. We may have to do that tomorrow.
Maybe she'll show up before we're all
I was
done.
trying to make it a surprise.
Yeah. Thanks, Randall.
Like I wasn't going to say anything all day, and then on the podcast make like a whole production of it. But she's not.
Yeah, maybe
she's not here.
she'll probably show up.
We will have to figure it out. And our other hashtags. What do you have? Appeal to heaven. What do you know what that was?
That's a flag with a pine tree on it that apparently January 6th rioters took into the thing. So now it's like associated with that. And then somebody in Virginia put up they had their upside down American flag, and now they put up the appeal to heaven flag with the pine tree on it, and people are freaking out. I think when you have to Google something to figure out what the flag means, it probably doesn't really carry that much outrage.
And the American flag upside down is a symbol of distress, and so I don't have a problem with that either. Because I
kind of have a problem with that.
I do think our nation is in distress. I think it has been for quite some time.
I think doing that and saying that is belittling when we're really in distress.
I think we're really in distress. I think if you look at the numbers about unemployment, I mean, we just know somebody else who lost their job.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers for unemployment, if you look at 50% of children today have chronic illnesses, there's major issues in the education system. People are divided. I really and truly believe that we are in distress. And that's why I keep saying I want to start a hippie commune. And there's some of you who think it should be a cult and I should be in charge. And I'm willing to do that if you really want me to. But I'd rather just like hang out. I don't really want to be in charge of anything. Yeah. I don't even want to be in charge in the bedroom. I'm like, can you please just tell me what to do? Please.
Got no problem with that.
Sometimes he has a problem with it. Sometimes he'll be like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, what are we ordering? Takeout? Just get in, put your thing in some holes.
I was ordering take in. I asked him that would have been
to take his clothes off and snuggle up with me last night because it was too cold. He didn't do that.
I was exhausted.
Asked him to come out to the pool today while I'm swimming around naked. Think he did that? No.
No, I had to clean the whole house, do all the laundry. You know what? Maybe Harrison Butker had something with this little speech. You get in there and do the laundry. I'll sit in the pool naked.
I will whip out
a titty.
My boyfriend, Bob.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Hookah Bob.
Oh.
Battery operated boyfriend. If you do not deliver tonight. What is that noise? Why are you even looking at me? What's wrong with you?
You like say it like it's a threat. I don't care.
I guess I need to buy a bigger one. Okay, and so hashtag Fiona Apple's trending.
No idea why. Oh, actually, she's they're picking her up on TikTok or something, and people are worried that her song is going to get like ruined for life, like some other
because people are
some
like,
other song.
Oh no, people are upset about the Apple list. So Apple made this list,
and Fiona
it's
Apple
the top 100 top 10 albums of all time on the 100 best list.
All right,
there's some controversy.
Can I just say something? Lists are bullshit. Everybody has their own favorites. Just let everybody have their own. Now, I am a big proponent that there's a certain album that is the best album ever made. I know there are a couple. I know there are a couple other albums that are right up there that I could listen to as an argument.
But a lot of these albums, meh. So their list is
I still
Lemonade by Beyonce.
It's number 10.
No.
Well, I'm not going to say no because I haven't listened to it. I haven't really thoroughly listened to it, but I got to think there are 10 other albums that are more important to the universe than Lemonade.
Nirvana, Nevermind. Maybe. Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. Maybe.
Kind of trendy.
Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar.
I've not heard. I don't think I've heard more than one track off of that.
Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder.
That's one of the greats. That's one of the greats.
Blondie, Blonde by Frank Ocean.
Frank Ocean was huge in England, not here as much. So I'm gonna refrain from talking about that.
1984, Purple Rain, Prince of the Revolution, but good. And of course, they're probably going by Apple plays. Abbey Road by the Beatles, I would argue, White Album.
It's like their third best album. Revolver is their best album, period. not up for discussion.
Thriller by Michael Jackson, number 2.
Hit after hit after hit.
Amazing.
I'm okay with that.
And the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
I would put Lauryn Hill not top 10.
I don't think it's top 10 material. I think people
controversial.
Yeah, I think people sort of I don't know.
Peter, you better think about your top 10 albums because I'm going to ask you when you come on.
I think the other thing about the Lauryn Hill thing was that I think that was really trendy. Like everybody thought the Atlantis album was good. That was right on the heels of that or whatever. And so I think people in that was kind of an odd time for music. So people were latching on to something that like they could actually listen to, because if you're older, you're not listening to the Nirvana stuff or Pearl
but the
Jam
thing
stuff.
that was really interesting is that when Lauryn Hill like burst on the scene in a public way, because I know she'd been musically involved and continues to be to this day, it was a great time for musical collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
And really for Black pride within music. I loved what Lauryn Hill was doing. I loved what Arrested Development was doing.
Yeah,
there was just a
good.
different, and they were on the heels of like De La Soul and like Tribe Called
De La
Quest.
Soul was very all those bands were kind of very similar. They were kind of cool because they were kind of. But we were listening to Public Enemy in the car the other day, and it was like, oh geez, this is like metal. You know, like
it was a Public Enemy Anthrax
combo,
thing. So they did like an album together, which was fantastic. Yeah. If you're a metal fan, if you're a rap fan, who doesn't love fucking Chuck D?
That voice is the voice of, oh my goodness, it has such urgency.
I will leave you for Chuck D.
Chuck D is a huge Clash fan, so that and he said
he's also a Juggalo.
Is he? Oh yeah,
Chuck
I guess
D
he would
identifies
be.
as a Juggalo.
So anyway, I think I can think of like a handful of albums that should be on that top 10 list that aren't.
All right, well, tell me your top 10 albums, and we're gonna pull Peter on.
I don't know. Let's we'll get through. But
no,
speaking
what are your
of
top 10 albums?
I mean, obviously the Clash, London Calling.
Yeah.
Revolver by the Beatles. I think Let It Be by the Beatles. Controversial. I think that should be up there. One of the greats. I didn't see any Aretha Franklin on there. I didn't see any Otis Redding on there. I didn't see Sam Cooke's Night Beat. Probably one of the greatest albums ever made. Ray Charles is country. I mean, there's just so many important
we're gonna have to discuss
albums that don't make these lists, but
should. I think we need to ask that question. What are the top 10 albums of all time? We'll do that tomorrow because these are not. I just don't think
David Bowie. Think of a David Bowie. No albums on there.
I don't know. I will tell you that I do agree that Michael Jackson Thriller deserves its due.
Yeah,
I would also even argue that although it's not musically, I think culturally, and I'm not a fan of hers anymore, but I think you got to give some credit to Madonna for Material Girl, although her other albums are better albums, like Ray of Light and what was the one with Dear Jessie on it and Rain. I think it was called Rain. That was a really good one too. I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
So as much as The Woman Has Gone Nuts, of course, I'm going to add Muck Sticky, anything by Muck Sticky. And then of course, Doug Gear, anything by Doug Gear.
The album is called Songs 1 through 10. Thank you very much.
License to Ill by the Beastie Boys. Dr. Dre, The Chronic.
I'm a huge fan
Sugar
of
Hill Gang. What was their first album called?
I'm a huge fan of Tears for Fears, Sowing the Seeds of Love. That is probably the best sound. And then there's a lot of stuff that nobody knows. Like Roxy Music had a bunch of albums that were amazing. Are
you hearing this animal?
Yeah, some sort of crazy
kind of bird.
It's like bird night up in here. The Boomtown Rats, Tonic for the Troops. I will just Machine Gun Etiquette, The Jam.
There's a billion.
The Sex Pistols, never mind the bollocks.
Doug's gonna have like the better answer to this. I'm just gonna pick the ones that I like, but I will say in to the end of Fiona Apple, that was amazing. Criminal when she came out, that song was sick. I went to feed the poor girl a cheeseburger. She looked ill.
Yeah.
And of course, people argued that Off the Wall should be on that list, and it's not.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? Speaking of music, I just wanted to pull up something music related. It was this conspiracy, and I know that
I thought you were going to play some Joanna.
Like
sure.
a good conspiracy, but this came up on the feed today that conspiracy theories claims that Jimi Hendrix is Morgan Freeman. And there's the proof right there. I don't know, folks. I don't know if you can get past that one now. I don't know.
I just got a text message from Donna.
Yeah.
We were riding to get an ice cream and John's head fell sideways and his eyes rolled back to his head. Andrew, and all kinds of shit was happening. I pulled over and called an ambulance.
Uh-oh.
Please
This-
keep me posted.
This is our good friend John, and Donna's sometimes on the show. Apparently something is
So if y'all could say a quick
something
prayer
more
for John
happened
and
to John.
Donna. He's been in and out of the hospital a lot lately, and I'm really worried. And the fact that I'm not crying right now is a minor miracle. So that really bums me out. But we're gonna send him positive vibes, and he's gonna get the help that he needs. Let's pull up the comments, and then we'll get over to Peter. And so Randall says, I have 4 acres. Let's do this.
So many thunderstorms up there, Randall. I'm not coming up there.
There's thunderstorms all over Florida. As a
Yeah,
matter of
but
fact, we need some fucking rain. Courtney says, hey, beautiful. And Doug. Yeah, you didn't do that the other night, and we were all thrown off.
that's right. We were like,
We need you.
we had to send a wellness check over there to check on you.
Herein lies the problem. As we move towards summer, people are doing things later and later.
Yeah.
And so, because the sun's up, so they forget. Tracy was telling me, she's like, I forget that it's podcast time because the sun's still out, and she's not even here. So
we go until 10, so like usually, so
we shall see what happens. And then Randall says, hey to Court, and of course back and all the praying. Randall, what is your grandmother's name? We want to pray for her. And Donna said to say prayers, and yeah, of course we are. So we have on tonight.
We have a fella on tonight that has done a little, like I read his bio and I looked at his website, a little bit of everything. This guy, and
he really is an
that's
interesting
admirable.
Guy. I'm excited about that.
He had a song that I listened to. He's had all kinds of blog posts, author, accomplished, and this, that, and the other thing. And
so I was actually just gonna. Oh, geez.
I don't know what you're doing over there.
I don't know how to open this. Oh, because I can't open documents the way you can because of I don't have that nonsense. But I'm going to read you the Peter's bio real quick before we bring him up on screen. Okay, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly. Peter Lancelotti has varied careers in sales marketing, primarily in telecommunications in his early life. We should talk about that. I wonder where you worked. We probably know some of the same people. One of his greatest achievements in telecom was upgrading the entire country of Romania's multi-channel cable television system, which began a series of upgrades in Europe shortly after 2002. Having a BA in communication from Rhode Island College in 1984. Oh my God. How did we not know that you're a New Englander? We're New Englanders.
It's like my age.
And we're from Massachusetts. My daughter is actually currently at Rick. And he also attended the Community College of Rhode Island for the first 2 years. I went to CCRI. How small is that world? A minor in philosophy, which included extensive work in theological studies of all religions and major works of the great philosophers and English literature writers. I am curious as to what you think about The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, which I keep saying I'm going to read, but it's that we go to the Center for Spiritual Living, and that's the book that they kind of refer to, even though they support all religions, and really interesting.
Feel free to say if it's mumbo jumbo. Tell us it's mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, we love that. Later in life, Lancelotti reinvented himself with the graduate level studies in gerontology from the University of Southern California in 2012, having enjoyed working with older adults from a young age. I love old people. That's why I marry them. I fuck them. I fuck old people.
This is not great.
You can too. And if you're old, you can go fuck yourself. After working in the science for close to 5 years working in scientific research, he began at the Davis School of Gerontology at USC. Concurrently, he opened his own home care agency, catering primarily to the LGBTQ community, who, by the way, we fucking love the LGBTQs. And we love you. And all that, like everybody. We love everybody.
Whatever you want to do.
And now retired to a secluded area in Los Angeles. You're starting to sound like Charles Manson.
Wait, what are you on the Spawn Ranch?
He continues to work in the next chapter of his life writing. For more comprehensive bio of the author, please visit his website, peterlancelotti.com.
Or you just talk to him. You could just
or you can come to the podcast. I do want to just show you before we pull our little friend up his 3 books.
Well, 3 of his books. I know there's more than this.
More? Jeez, Louise. I keep saying I'm going to write a book, and Peter's just like lapping me. It's like skunking Doug at cribbage.
Turning them out.
So here are 3 of his books: Alive After Dying, the Immortal Menagerie, the Book of Secret Scrolls, and the Immortal. And it's his management book of something I can't see because it's very small.
It's too small. I made it too small. I blame the design guy.
I blame the design guy.
That was me.
So I'm super excited to have Peter on the horn, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that he's actually here because we've had a few podcast guests blow us off, and that aggravates me.
And Peter, if anytime anything gets too much for you, you just say, you can
tell us to fuck off.
Yeah,
If you have a question you want to talk about, if you're like, geez, you're swearing an awful lot, I can't help you with that one. But if you find yourself to be offended, or if there's any question we ask you, just say, can we move on? Let's move on. I don't want to talk about that. Are you on drugs, Stacey? Yes, I am on drugs, Peter. And I hope you are too. You're in California. You should be growing your own drugs. He's shaking his head no. So I'm pulling him up. 3, 2, 1, here.
There he is.
Our friend. Hey, Peter.
I see nothing. What am I supposed to see? Am I supposed to hit the chat with everyone in the studio button?
Oh, okay. I don't know what you see on your end, but all you have to do is
A blank white screen.
You can't even see us.
No.
That's interesting. So if you open another window, you can see us on like Facebook or whatever.
I have to open another window. Okay, hold on. Let's do that because I told you to send me a link. I'm very technologically challenged. I'm 62 years old. So
Doug keeps telling everyone he's almost 60.
So when my wife says, "Hey, could you go grab me a drink in the kitchen?" I'm like, "I can't. I'm almost 60." Like,
yeah, well,
like I'm trying to use it as an excuse, and she's like, "No, 60 is the new 40."
Peter over there has done a whole shitload of stuff. So, and I think he might be coming in from a phone, which might make it hard for him to do both things. So, Peter,
he has frozen, so
you are frozen on our end, so maybe
he might have to come when he clicks back on the other window. It'll probably be okay. And
well, we'll talk about it until he comes back. Peter, when you're back, say something.
Randall's grandmother, Janice Rolfs.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yeah, you're back.
We've been able to see you the whole time. As long as you can hear us.
Okay. I tried to get onto Facebook, but that's when you said I froze. I can hear you, but I can't see you. I just got a blank white screen here.
We're ugly. It's okay. You don't need to see this.
People used to tell me I talk fast. Stacey, I have never heard anyone talk faster than you.
Well, I got to tell you, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. Like growing up, my grandmother would always be like, slow down, enunciate your words. But if you think about the fact that we do almost 2 hours of podcast every night and I talk as fast as I do, I just need a really good editor to bring everything down to a book for me because I have written.
Are you doing speed? Are you doing speed?
No, I would hasten what she'd be like if she did. I've been watching.
Well, she said she was doing drugs. I've been listening.
Well,
just marijuana,
just cannabis for.
Well, wow, that should have been knowing you. I wonder what you're like when you're not on smoking.
Welcome to the Terror Dome.
I love you already.
So I've been watching our old clips and running them at 1.75 speed, so everything's sped up, so I can watch an hour show in less time. And it's pretty funny. It's like
someone taught me how to do that on WhatsApp. It's really hysterical. Because I was used to one time, and then you hit 2 times. And it's like, oh, that's how you get through a 5-minute conversation fast. Okay, I would send something to them, and then like less than a minute and a half, they'd be sending me something back, and I'm like, how the hell are they doing that?
Well, so some of us, I'm like, if you think I speak quickly, I type even faster.
Oh, she does.
And then sometimes I'll use voice to text. But yeah, like this, once you get into the groove the more time I spend on technology, and unfortunately I do spend a tremendous amount of time on it, the better I get at it. And so doing the podcast, because we just like on a Tuesday night decided to do the podcast, we are learning stuff every single day. And Doug's not really ready for that because he's almost 60.
About that, I'm going to be 63 this year. And I believe when you stop learning, your life is over.
Yeah,
you're so right. But Peter, I love that you're so accomplished. You've done so much, and you're 62, going to be 63 soon, and you're making Doug look bad. And I like when people make Doug look bad.
How old are you, Stacey?
I'm 47.
So is that like after the millennial? I should know this. I'm a gerontologist.
Technically a Gen X.
Gen X, okay. And it's funny on TikTok. Gen X hate me the most. I got the Gen Z. I got the Gen Z crowd. I got the millennial crowd. I got the people my age and older. But Gen X, it's like 5% of Gen X like what I do.
Really?
That's really so. Gen X, and Doug's technically Gen X, but I like to tell everybody
that was the first year apparently.
I'm
at the ass end of baby boomer.
Yes. And hey, the ass end depends on how that ass is.
Hey.
If it's a good ass, that's not the worst place to be. So it's interesting because Gen X, we kind of have this like we're like the forgotten, like the nobody gave a fuck about us generation. So we don't.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should address that in some of my future videos.
But I think that I think the thing about Gen X is like we're all bark, you know, like we're all like grouchy and surly, and we've got our heads down.
I can tell because like I do a lot of funny shit on my videos, and it's like I cannot capture the attention of. I have tried everything. I'm like, what do Gen X people really want? I don't know. But now that I've got you online, Stacey, that's great. I might ask you some questions. So
I think they're kind of indifferent, and that's why they're not passionate about anything, and that's why they don't care.
Gen X is just like they're like the grouchy old men, but they're young. Like we were 30 when we were kids, and we're 30 now, and we will forever be 30. Is kind of like the mentality. I remember when you were 30. Many moons ago.
Oh boy, I do remember when I was 30, and I don't think you would have wanted to know me when I was 30.
You like at 30, like we had all just like you kind of like you had all that fun in your early 20s. I didn't really, I was having kids, but you had that fun in your early 20s, and then like you start to realize like being an adult sucks. You have all this responsibility.
In my book Alive After Dying, which is a memoir, you can read about what I did in my 30s, and I'm not. I mean, obviously, anybody could read it. I probably did every drug on the planet and probably screwed every person I could get my hands on.
Well, no, do you say every person? Do you mean men, women, both?
Or, yeah.
Good for you. We love a good sex talk.
Well, we've had episodes of this where where my wife was fascinated about having sex with a dolphin, and then she got up close and personal with a dolphin once. Recently, and now that's out the window. So
well, because the dolphins have a massive dick, I think I'm gonna fist a dolphin, but that's not the point. How do we go from Peter being wild in his 30s to fisting dolphins? Right, so I don't think he was that wild.
I tell you, so he writes some books on some heavy stuff.
Yes, he does.
And here we are talking about fisting a dolphin in his blowhole.
No, I talk about that in Alive After Dying too, but that's a true story. Her Immortal Menagerie is actually a sci-fi story, which is categorically in Amazon is a space opera, which is sort of a soap opera sci-fi, but it's got some very heavy elements of spirituality and the occult. But I do deal with aliens, and I do deal with some deep concepts about theosophy, levels of consciousness, that the shift in consciousness that's going on the planet right now is real. Well, I say it's real.
You can't see me, but I'm nodding. I'm nodding. Yes.
You know, I mean, some people, you know, like I have, well, okay, I hope he's watching too. I kind of have a new boyfriend, and we've had several conversations about absolutism, you know, like one should keep one's mind open to everything. And I do, and so does he. And so anyway, I don't know how to, yeah. Her Immortal Menagerie, the sci-fi story, mixes fact with fiction. The factual part. And it's also about feminine empowerment, because I believe that is what's happening right now. We're having a shift in consciousness that the chaotic, warring Mars, you know, masculine energy, that's been ruling us for like thousands of years. I won't go into any particular religion that does that, but let's just say they're located in the center of Italy, and they're all by themselves in their own little country. But that's, by the way, the subtitle of Alive After Dying is On Being Gay and Spiritually Challenged. My spiritual challenge was escaping them. And
I have so many questions. I don't want to stop you because you're on a roll, but I also have questions. So I want to. The first one is, how long have you been together with your new sweetie?
We haven't actually met, but we've known each other for 11 years.
No kidding.
Wow. I have a lot of people like that. How they like these people like
he's coming in on June. He's flying here on June 4th.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Oh my gosh, I marked my calendar. June 4th. June 4th. I'm writing it down. June 4th. And tell me about
you better do a juice cleanse.
He looks
now you're on his side on that stuff. All right, no, I'm not going to go into that.
He doesn't need to do a juice cleanse. He looks amazing. And I wanted to ask you, how many books total have you written now?
3. That's why when you said earlier that I've done many, I'm like, I'm writing the trilogy is Her Immortal Menagerie, and I'm in the middle of writing book 3 now. There's 2 more books next year that I'm doing on poetry, and I'm also going to be following up on my website with short stories that were deleted out of Alive After Dying because I didn't know the difference between an autobiography and a memoir. And it was originally 800 pages long. And my editor said, Peter, you're not Freddie Mercury. Nobody wants to read the Leo Tolstoy War and Peace of your life. And I thought, oh, okay. So they kind of cut it down to, a memoir is usually about one or two subjects, which is being gay and spiritually challenged. My life would take a couple of volumes. And Her Immortal Menagerie, the sci-fi story, I started writing that 42 years ago, and I didn't find the right. I know, and I didn't find the right developmental editor until last year. And he's in England. In fact, he read Alive After Dying, and when he contacted me, he thought I was a Brit, and because I don't know, I think he thought my writing was very British. I'm an Anglophile. I love the Brits, and the whole thing, pomposity, all of it. But he and I, after we finished the first book, he got a full-time job, and it was really unfortunate because I liked working with him because he did such a good job with the developmental editing of book one, The Secret Scrolls of Her Immortal Menagerie. He did a really good job. We had countless talks about how badly I wrote fiction, because I'm a terrible liar. And I told him, I said, Stephen, writing fiction is lying. He goes, no, it's not. Yes, it is. I said, you got to make stuff up and then remember it. And when I was, kind of getting towards the end of the book, he's like, Peter, if this happens, then that can't happen. Oh, all right. I liked him. He was really fun to work with.
Conscience.
I love that. We all need a British conscience.
It's funny. When I slow my speech down, suddenly I go into a British accent. I don't know why I do that, but I do.
I can only say one thing in a British accent, really. Like, hello.
Well, that's the Cockney thing. I have a hard time with Cockney. In fact, I have a couple of friends on LinkedIn who saw a couple of videos I did. I think I did... I recited one of my new. I'm coming out with a really unusual type of poetry book. It's going to be an MP4 and with a paperback compendium, which is, I don't know if you heard any of the stuff I uploaded onto YouTube. I did The Nameless Feminine Deity, which was kind of based on Her Immortal Menagerie, because I told you I'm quite the feminist, very into feminine empowerment. And when you find out who she is, wow, what a surprise that's going to be. I drop a lot of hints, but you won't find out definitively until book 3. But you probably have an idea who she is.
It's Joan Collins. I'm going to take a guess right now. I think it's Joan Collins.
I figured you might think. I'll give you a big hint right here. It's not a person.
It's the universe.
It's not a person. If you read the back cover, if you go online and read the description,
all right,
stars and planets talk to each other. And they are living beings. This is the fictional. Well, I don't know, might be fiction, maybe not.
No.
When they talk to each other, you find out. Actually, Stacy, you said who she is earlier, but I won't say it again.
See, now you've got us all intrigued.
Now we have
so much to deal with. So I think it's. I mean, I'm believing it's the universe, or God, but I could be wrong. But I'm looking at your book. So your book, Alive After Dying, is your memoir, and that's the book about your life. Okay, so I'm a nonfiction girl. Like I'm all over that. I will be reading that in the very near future. Unfortunately, my list of books to read is long, but you will be on there.
And she's also a horror movie enthusiast, so she's thinking Alive After Dying is like some sort of
it's not about life after death. It's
not at all. And so your Immortal Menagerie series, it's going to be the 3-part series. Which do you prefer writing, the nonfiction or the fiction?
Well, the nonfiction story, there was a precipitating event. I was married for 26 years. My spouse passed away, and I was actually not going to write a book until we were all sentenced to self-imposed exile when March 2020 came around and everyone started taking COVID-19 seriously. And I thought, well, I'm either going to drink myself to death or I'm going to stop drinking and do something constructive. So guess which one I did?
Hemingway would have drank.
Wait a
Just
second.
saying.
Don't make light of people's surprise. Are you, Peter, are you sober or you just decided not to drink and write?
I drink beer and wine, but I used to drink the hard stuff. In fact, after my spouse passed away, I got really busy for 6 months destroying every relationship I could. 20, 30-year relationships. Some people forgave me because of my situation, but some people did not. And that's on me. That's my karma. Well, I don't do the blame game thing. That's just not cool.
But so what was your partner's name?
Mahesh.
Mahesh.
Yes. And he was born in Texas, raised in Oklahoma, but he got that name from he was a Hare Krishna. I'm a theosophist.
Yeah.
He got that name from studying at an ashram in India by a woman named Guru Ma.
Wonderful.
And when I met him, he was also a teacher at SMC. He was a math teacher.
Yeah.
And I've also, I taught some classes at USC. I was in scientific research. He was kind of amazed when he told me about getting into academia. He says, "You want to get into academia?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm going back to school. I was 50 when I went back to school for gerontology." And the reason being is because in 2008, the market crashed. Everybody, like 50% of everyone in telecom lost their jobs. And I used to travel around with an engineer. I was the sales marketing guy, engineer. Yeah. We'd go to people and we'd ask them about their upgrades. Well, when everyone lost their job in 2008 and the world came to a standstill economically, they gave us an ultimatum. The sales and marketing people can either go to school and learn engineering. Oh yeah, that's like right up there with sticking needles in my eye. Or the engineers would go to school to learn marketing. I thought, well, that's kind of easier, in my opinion. I mean, engineering, marketing, a little easier. But I decided. I said, well, screw this. And after 2 years of trying to get a job, I went back to school in 2010 to just simply healthcare seemed to be the thing of the future. Yeah. So I went there to simply learn telehealth because that seemed to be the wave. I actually did get a job I know. And I had a job when you said Blue Marble, Doug, I think you said Blue Marble earlier about the world. I worked for a company named Blue Marble Health. No kidding. And what they did, well, they still do actually. What they developed, a neuroscientist, Cheryl Flynn Ashford, she developed these games for rehabilitation for people coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And I used to go around to Cedar Sinai, City of West Hollywood, the Motion Picture Television Fund, all these places, and sell it to them. And I had a lot of commitments, but when it came down to actually delivering, they weren't ready. And I thought, well, you hired me a little prematurely. I think I only worked there for like 6 or 7 months as a consultant, as a salesperson, but I'm one of those people that can walk into a room and tell you in less than 15 minutes who the decision makers are and who you need to be talking to.
That's the key point in sales. That's actually my background. That's actually my background was in sales as well. You really need to know who the decision maker is, and you need to know it's actually been interesting because Doug's been dealing with this to some extent. You need to know when you take a position with a company if it's scalable, and all too often these companies are not they don't, they may have a great concept and terrible management, or they don't have the money to back it up. I mean, it's really a challenge. You really want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with absolutely amazing people. There's so many topics I wanted to loop back to. So we do have a few comments here from viewers, but I think it's just mostly just people saying,
it's just chit-chatting back and forth there.
So I just want to loop to our comments real quick. Janice Rolfs, we're going to pray for her. I think I've also known her as grandma. So Randall's grandma is very sick. And then, of course, Nicole's here. She says, hey, I made it. I just got home. Happy birthday, girl. We're so excited you're here. And you get to meet our new friend, Peter. We're so glad you get to spend it with us. Peter is amazing, incredibly fascinating. He's been talking to us about his books, his poetry that's coming up, and just this amazing life that he's led where he's done all kinds of cool things. Nicole's dad and her sister brought her out for a birthday dinner. Nice. And of course, Anne's here and she says hello. So Anne, if you weren't here for this, you definitely want to check out Peter's books. Everybody check them out. Peter, you can buy them on Amazon, I'm assuming.
Yes, they're all. In fact, book 2 of the trilogy just came out last week.
Perfect. So yeah,
Congrats.
if you're a fiction girl, her Mortal Menagerie, the series, the Mortal Menagerie, and there will be a 3rd book. Or for you, if you're fiction people, he does. There's a little bit of sci-fi, a little bit of spirituality, a little bit of everything, and he described it earlier better than I could. But
Space opera.
Space opera. We definitely. It just sounds incredibly interesting. But I'm a nonfiction girl, so please make a movie.
You might like it though, Stacey, because it's got a lot of fact that I mix with fiction, and a lot of people like it. Starts off with the founding father, one of the founding fathers, the 5th president of the United States, James Monroe, and what he was doing, and it's true, when he released a slave named Peter Marks. That's true. Now, then there's a fictional character named Terry Zion, who's 190 years old, and you know that, right, from like the first few pages. And you're kind of wondering, like, how does she work into this?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's based on factual events. I like, for example, in book 2, I refer to in 1984 when the first woman ran for vice president with Walter Mondale, Geraldine Ferraro. So the whole thing is a lot about feminine empowerment. However, it also shows that there is probably a lot going on behind the scenes of what our 5 senses can pick up as reality. People follow their little micro universes and their religions and their political ideologies without ever knowing what's really going on. And when I say what's really going on, that of course is my opinion, and that's why it's called science fiction.
I see. I think that so I'm a big. We're gonna get down like a philosophical rabbit hole here, especially considering the fact that the cannabis oil I took before the podcast is just starting to kick in. But so I have and I don't know how much time you've spent watching the podcast. I did warn him. I said, listen, this is a fucked up podcast.
You told me that. You said, make sure this doesn't disagree with your brand. I don't know what my brand is yet, actually. I'm kind of figuring it out. So please continue.
Well, it's actually interesting that you should say that, because Jen Corey, who is amazing, we love her. She says Peter's books sound extremely interesting. So we've got that up on screen. So anybody who's scrolling by on TikTok is seeing that. So yeah, they really do sound interesting to me. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because we're from we moved to Florida. So I want to. Your partner, Makash, your husband that you lost, how long were you together?
26 years.
20. That's a long time. And so it's been 2 years.
5.
So 5 years. Sorry.
Now do the math about the man that's flying in here on June 4th.
Wow. So so how have you been handling that? Like, how are you healing? Not that you ever will.
I actually won an award with Alive After Dying for personal memoir transformation. It also won a 2nd place award for nonfiction parapsychology. There's a lot of weird stuff that happened. And earlier you mentioned Science of Mind.
Yes.
One of my mentors, who was a Jesuit, was reading. I never read anything about it, but he told me a lot about Science of Mind. And he was a Jesuit. And I don't want to spoil too much of Alive After Dying if you're going to read it, but he got quite a slap on the hand for reading that kind of material in the Catholic Church.
So the thing that's really interesting, of course, you know how like I believe all things are connected, and the thoughts become things, and all kinds of hippie bullshit. And of course, as the week kicks in, it's even more. And like I made dolphin friends recently, and I'm convinced that I'm like finally one with the spiritual universe. I'm losing my freaking mind. It's really what it's all about. But the thing that I thought was really interesting, because we weren't expecting it at all, is that you're from Rhode Island. You went to school in Rhode Island?
Well, okay. I'm from. Can I say this on camera? In Alive After Dying, I'm from Massachusetts. Can we leave it there?
Sure. So we're actually from Massachusetts, and I actually, much like yourself, went to CCRI very briefly. And
did you go to the Warwick campus, the one that looks like Battlestar Galactica?
Yes, that's the one.
That's where I went.
So I wonder if we cross paths. So I went because I went as a.
You're
returning-
47. No, I'm much older than you. We did not
so
cross
you went
paths.
like traditionally when you were younger. I went.
Well, I
back
got my bachelor's in 84, so I was there in 80, 81. I graduated high school in 79. I went directly to CCRI in 80, 81. And then after 2 years, I transferred all my credits over to RIC, where I got my bachelor's in 84.
Okay. Yeah. So I went back as a returning student. And then of course, and then I transferred to ECSU in Connecticut and got my degree in economics, but I did it as like a 30-year-old, like with 4 kids. It was crazy. The thing for me that's, I had something to say and it just went right in and out of my brain. Oh, Rhode Island.
That's the cannabis, see?
Well, no, it's not actually the cannabis. The reason I take cannabis is because I have end-stage neurological Lyme. So I have lesions on my brain and my memory is really not good. So for me with like reading fiction or paying attention, of course, the weed probably doesn't help either, but it's brain function, which is where when I read nonfiction, I can do a little bit better. It's easier to follow because there's usually less characters and I can take notes. Whereas with I
can't say that there's less characters in Alive After Dying. There's a lot of character development. It is, it was originally 800 pages, as I told you.
Yeah.
It's been cut down to 396. It's 100,000 words.
That's
usually a memoir is 60 to 90,000 words, but my editor said if we cut it down anymore, it's going to lose the oomph, the UMPH of the story. But I don't think you'll find it too hard to follow because it's a lot of. Someone described it well in one of my reviews. It's vignettes of my life, because it doesn't follow like it starts with me at the age of 6 and goes to the age of 50. Was I 58 or 59? I think it was 58. Well, no, 59. I can't remember. It was two. All right, I started writing it in 2020. I finished writing it in 2022. I'm 62, so 59. I think I say it in the prologue. The prologue is like 3 pages, and that is current day of when the book was published.
So tell me a little, like, what was your decision to write that book? Obviously, you were grieving.
I told you, COVID. I wasn't going to write a book, and then we were all, sentenced to self-imposed exile.
It was like a just because.
Not really. I had always wanted to write a book, but I didn't think I had it in me to. Actually, I called one of my author friends in Virginia. He's a horror fiction writer. And I said, "Oh, Lee, what have I done?" And he goes, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, he was a beta reader for Alive After Dying. He thought it was great. He said, "Go with it, run with it." And I worked with a bunch of editors at Elite Authors in New York. And excuse me. He said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I think I revealed way too much about myself, and I've left myself open to I told you what I
of course.
So so big time. I'm a musician. I was in 3 bands, and you hear about that too. That's why when you said, do bands go around and not sex them up? Oh yes, they do. Every single one of them. All of them do. And they're actually crueler than you think. And you'll find out because I was not exactly as nice as I am today. And I'm burying myself here.
But that's okay, because I listen, I'm on the podcast night after night, burying myself, sharing all kinds of details. Everyone knows every detail about Doug's wiener. It bends to the left, by the way.
Oh, I don't. Gee.
You don't bend to the left?
No, he hadn't been watching, so he didn't know.
Oh, well, now you
so
know.
I was a little shocked.
Now you know.
No.
Are you two together? Are you two like a couple?
Yes.
Yeah, we're happily married for.
Okay, so who's the top?
It depends what room we're in.
I happen to top from the bottom.
You know what?
I kind of felt you were the dominant one, Stacey. I don't know why.
And I'm an easygoing guy, right? So if you need to do that, that's my role, right? I let you kind of do your thing. And
you let me? Well, I'm not interested, Doug, but thank you.
Well, you're not into old guys like myself. No, the reason I asked
I'm dating someone older than me.
Oh,
he looks better than me, but he looks better than me.
Do you notice that he blushes and like gets all glowy when he talks about him? I'm gonna be counting the days down, and that's coming. That's in like what?
And I'm not telling you his name because too many people know us and have no idea what's going on.
Is it Mick Jagger?
Secrets. Is it Mick Jagger?
No, he's not a rock star.
Okay.
Neither one of us are. I mean, I'm not famous, and I don't think he's famous. He might be. We haven't talked about that.
You're famous now. You're on this podcast.
You're famous because you're an author and you're on this podcast. Let me ask you, I want to ask you about being a musician. So what instrument do you play?
Well, I'm a classically trained guitarist from the age of 8. And when I was 16, I stopped lessons. Couldn't do the 64th notes. I could get up to 32nd notes, but 64th, that was out of my range. And I thought I had the most amazing teacher. His name was Alvin Pulley. He was a jazz guitarist, but he taught me classical guitar. And who inspired me to become a guitarist was David Cassidy from the Partridge Family.
That's amazing. Was he a crush when you were growing up?
Oh, hell yeah.
Right? I think
it was my first. I think it was like probably one of my first masturbation things.
I've never masturbated to David Cassidy.
David Cassidy? No, not me.
Well, I'll give it a shot tonight, baby.
Well, look at the earlier pictures of him. He passed away.
Right, he did.
Oh,
Yeah,
he did?
recently. Yeah, like last few years.
A couple of years ago.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if I would notice it.
Alzheimer's of all things, which is something I studied at USC.
Nice.
Have you seen the Peter Simoneau stuff about lion's mane and the benefits to regrowing brain synapses?
I have not.
I highly recommend it. He was on Rogan. He did a great thing. He's done a bit. He's been speaking everywhere. He did TED Talks. It's Paul Simoneau. I think his name
I don't
is.
know his name. I
Paul
know who you
Simmons,
mean.
Paul,
Because
Mushroom
You can
Guy.
email it to me when you get.
Yeah, I will.
we
for
know
sure.
him as Mushroom Guy. Yeah, remember when that Mushroom Guy was
Paul
on?
Stamets. Paul Stamets. I'll send it to you. But the guy is genius. And for anybody who's watching this who has family history of Alzheimer's or suffering from memory loss, I think as we all do as we get older, and for all my pothead friends, and let's face it, everybody watching here is a pothead friend.
Alleged potheads.
Except Doug.
So we don't get into trouble with legal.
I don't know, we don't have a legal department.
No, we don't have any.
I smoke. I smoke.
Good. Well, you live in California. I think you're required to by law, aren't you?
They actually now sell psilocybin in those stores. And I asked the cashier, I said, "Is that legal?" And she goes, "Well, there's a gray area there." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they've legalized in, I think it was Oregon that psilocybin's legal now, but like.
Oh yeah, probably Washington, Oregon, Colorado. They're always the first. Everyone thinks California is the first. No, we are not.
I think the biggest one that I think that they're really focused on right now is fentanyl. Like they want to keep, or they're trying to kill people with fentanyl, and the United States government has a hand in it, but don't get me down that tirade. You talked about Catholicism. So I'm assuming you were raised as a Catholic?
Unfortunately.
I was as well. And I know you can't see
it, isn't it?
It's very strange, but I will say, and if you've seen me before on the podcast, like I have tattoos, piercings, dreadlocks.
I did see you. I did watch one of them.
I say fuck a lot. I'm obsessed with.
That's why I said I'll be on your show. I mean, I don't swear a lot I was on a couple of conservative podcasts recently, so I actually this will crack you up. I have a 37-year-old millennial who is from Germany. He is brilliant, and he teaches me a lot about like green screen technology. I was going to try and do it tonight, but he's on vacation, and it's like, no, I'm not going to try that alone. And he's the only person that can get me to shut up when, and I call him Professor Dad. I've known him for 15 years. When I first met him, I thought he was gay. He's like 22. He's now 37. But I met him at the costume masquerade that I've been to, which is going to be one of the names of my books, From the Scrolls of I Am Merlin. That will be one of the poetry books. And there's this wild picture of me dressed in the Excalibur Nicole Williamson outfit with the skull cap and the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Oh, I could send you that picture after. And well, too bad I didn't send it to you now. I didn't think about it.
That's all right.
Well, the book's not out until next year. But anyway, this woman named Violet Sprague, photography, she did it. And she added all these weird special effects with, it kind of looks like I'm translucent, like I'm appearing out of nowhere. I'm like, how did you do that? And then I asked her, can I use it on my book? How much do you want? And she goes, oh, I'm giving it to you. You take it free.
That's amazing. Yeah, we've done a lot. We especially Doug does a lot of stuff to help other small businesses, that kind of thing. He's a design guy by trade. He's been doing branding for a million years.
Well, seems like forever.
What I was going to say, what I forgot to say. See, I haven't even smoked weed. Sebastian told me, "Be careful what you say on podcasts." This is a 37-year-old millennial telling me, and I thought, okay. And he was a little leery of me coming on your show.
Really?
I said, yeah. I said, why? He goes, just be careful what you say. I'm going to be out of town. I'm not going to be controlling the camera and the volume and everything. I'm like, I think I can handle this. And he's like, okay. I call him Professor Dad.
So we're actually lately we've had a ton of live viewers. Tonight it's really quiet. As far as we know right now, we only have 25
nobody likes me.
I wouldn't take it personal. It's
I'm not.
Well, people watch it the day after.
People
they
watch
I
it
figure you're going to be on the episode's on forever because I want to put it on my website.
It is on forever. It's on so it'll be on YouTube forever. It's on Facebook forever. Unless we do
I'll put a link to it. Yeah, I'll put a link to it on my website.
Yeah. The only thing that they've ever really dinged us for is I had some concerns about a certain medication that has been distributed to the people of the country, and they pulled one of our episodes down. Other than that, all of our episodes are up on YouTube, and people are watching old episodes. It's been weird because we've really had we went from averaging like 10 to 12 people a night to averaging like 96 a night, and we can technically go live on TikTok now, but we really haven't figured out how to do it from a logistical perspective. We're a work in progress, and we'll probably always will be. I want to just
you should have Riley Danvers on your show. She did a live book launch recently. She's writing she calls it well, I thought when I was listening to her, it sounded like more like historical fiction. What she's doing is she's writing a sort of historical romance novel. Well, it's a trilogy that is the precursor of the Odyssey and the Iliad by Homer. And she's a Jane Austen fan, which, both of them really appealed. That's why I went there. But she was doing TikTok, Facebook, all of it at the same time. But she's also a very interesting person. You should have her
right now we're live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are not on TikTok just because we haven't practiced doing it logistically yet. As a matter of fact, over on Instagram right now, Leslie D has just chimed in. Shout out to Leslie. Leslie and Doug actually used to work together. And so we're on all the platforms. We actually use a platform called StreamYard, which you're logged into right now. And that makes it so that we're able to cast all the platforms and pull all the comments up on screen. Randall is said all right to Nicole said all righty to Randall. They're laughing. And Jeremy Lawrence is here, although Jeremy has some accents above his letters. I need to say it in a fancy way.
French something or other. From Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester, Mass.
Bonjour, mon ami.
Doug is actually from Worcester. He grew well, you didn't like.
Yeah, I'm not born there, but I grew up there. Yeah.
He was.
Have you ever been to North Smithfield?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Bryan College was there, right?
No, Rhode Island College was in Lincoln, and they had a Lincoln campus and a Warwick campus. I just asked that because in passing.
Doesn't your brother live?
I think in North Smithfield? I think he lives in North Smithfield and works in Webster.
I used to live in Blackstone, which is right over the border.
Oh, that's it. Well, on page 1, when you start reading Alive After Dying, cousin Lori lived in Blackstone.
Oh, so funny how it's such a small world.
And she went to the Lincoln campus of CCRI.
Yeah, I've never been to the Lincoln campus. Oh no, I did. I had to go for an exam one day because I had a remote class. I went there once, but I don't think I could find it honestly, I don't think I could find anything back there if my life depended. Last time we went home, so we live in Southwest Florida now, and the last time we went home, I was like, get me back to Florida. I'd love to see my friends, but I could do without the cold and the potholes and people being
Thank you. 6 months of winter, 1 month of spring, 4 months of summer, 1 month of fall. I either go in April or September, and I don't recognize Boston or Providence.
No, it's so weird. We went, hang on a second. So we went back in August, so the weather wasn't terrible. It was September. It was early September.
So it was okay.
The weather wasn't terrible. So, I mean, it was fine. And we got to see a lot of people that we love, which was the most amazing part. And, we will be going back eventually. Actually, we're supposed to go back in August for a wedding. We'll have to see where we're at financially then. But yeah, it's, we love our people there, but I could do without the weather. When you talk about Providence, I have to have like a chat with you for a second. Remember how if you were coming from Cranston and you wanted to go to Seekonk, you had to cut across 6 lanes of traffic on 95
Yeah, you were going like 95 to the 195.
Yeah. They rerouted that whole thing. There's a bridge.
I know. When I went there, I was like, I had to have someone else drive because I'm at that age where friends with benefits means knowing someone who can drive you around.
I'll drive you around. That's what I do to Doug. Doug hates driving.
I've driven enough.
I do all of the driving. When we moved to Florida, we brought the Jeep and we towed a U-Haul, like with everything we owned in it, because we got rid of everything. And Doug sat in the passenger seat watching football the entire time while I drove. He was a passenger princess.
I was nice.
And speaking of princesses, one of the things that you talked about was spirituality and feminine energy taking over. And of course, a shift in consciousness that we all seem to, and a shift in energy that we all seem to be kind of dealing with right now. And I know I'm seeing it in my life. And of course, I've been sick. Doug and I got married 11 years ago, or it'll be 11 years ago in July.
Congratulations.
And shortly thereafter, I was diagnosed with end-stage neurological Lyme and a bunch of other crap that goes along with it.
So sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And fortunately,
nymphomania was one of them, though. That was good.
I do. Yeah, the nymphomania has been working out well for both of us. I'm working on necrophilia next, but Doug here, you have to worry about what you said. Oh my gosh, we're the worst. Doug's been my constant caregiver for the last 10 years, so it's been absolutely amazing. And so
you're a good man, Doug.
Thank you, but it's getting a little old. I got to be honest. I'm just kidding.
It is getting old. But I mentioned it because it is Lyme Disease Awareness Month, and of course, being from New England, I'm sure you know people that have been impacted by the disease, and yeah, it's rough stuff. And then I wanted to talk about your so I've got so many ums lately, and I hate that I'm doing that. So somebody smack me upside the head every time I say when you're
Oh, not literally. Okay.
Well, right. I'm just saying that you might not want to smack your wife upside the head on a live podcast.
Hey, it worked for P. Diddy.
I can't see you, so smack away.
Lord, can we?
I can't see you.
So your talk about the shift in energy. Tell me more about that.
I believe that, as a theosophist, and I'm not going to get too deeply into this because it's a very, beliefs are very subjective.
Of course.
I am an Alice Bailey fan, and she followed in the footsteps of Madame Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, who brought theosophy to America in 1875. Alice Bailey brought it to Hollywood, but I was still in New England when I read this book, which is in Alive After Dying, I quote it, called The Externalization of the Hierarchy. Some people thought, is that the second coming of the Christ? Well, second coming of Christ, and everyone thinks Jesus Christ is the same thing. Jesus was a man. He was Jesus of Nazareth until he was 12, and then suddenly, Act 2, he's here at 30, and he's now the Christ. And the only Son of God, not only a, but the. I thought, I have a hard time with that shit. But anyway,
especially as a theologist, you're familiar that other religions have their own Christ-like character.
I've read the Bhagavad Gita, I've read the Tao Te Ching, I've read the Quran, I've read the Torah, I've read them all. I mean, in the Torah and the New Testament alone.
Yeah.
Let's see. God's an asshole in the Old Testament. God's love in the second one. So which is he? Or he? He. That's another one. He. Where did he come from? It's an it. Yeah. The Force is the best explanation I've ever heard for God. George Lucas is the star, and so where did I get the idea of the feminine polarity coming into being? In this book I read, Externalization of the Hierarchy, written in 1957.
Wow.
If you look on, I know, and I've read this book like a couple of times, if you look on page 530 exactly, there is a prediction about the year 2025, which is why I'm in a hurry to finish Her Immortal Menagerie, because my book is it's really not fiction, but it has to be presented as fiction, because this energy started, oddly enough, and I know my boyfriend's going to argue with me about this, it oddly started when COVID was discovered in China with the bats.
Huh.
And the externalization of the hierarchy is basically group consciousness, us coming together, loving one another, accepting one another for all we are. Stop judging. Stop all of this prejudicial crap. And people say, go to hell. Really? Because poverty, war, famine. Where are you going to find that? Is there a lower level than this? Because if there is, my God, take me away, Calgon.
Well,
I like a good Calgon reference, so I.
Well, I told you I'm kind of funny. I try to be funny. I mean, I try to, like I said, it's a heavy subject that we're talking about, but you got to kind of keep it light because some people get offended by this subject. And I know Sebastian's my website manager. He's the 37-year-old millennial from Germany. He's going to kill me, especially since I just said his name.
Outed him.
But I've outed him before. Like I said, he has no problem with me calling him Professor Dad. But and he's an agnostic. He's read all my stuff. He's an agnostic, which But I did get him starting to believe in karma, because some people, they say, okay, I've had atheists read Alive After Dying, and they go, all right, you still haven't sold me on the whole God thing, but you got me thinking about karma. I hate to break it to them because I haven't, but I'm going to say this live here. Please. If you buy into karma, then you got to buy into reincarnation. And the feminine energy, the feminine polarity, is group consciousness, as I'm repeating myself, but the masculine energy that is warring, the chaotic warring that's been going on for thousands of years, this thing going on in Israel right now, the Middle East. I mean, how come we can't stop all the crap going on in the Middle East? This has been going on for thousands of years.
Yeah. Amen.
But it's a masculine, chaotic, warring energy. Now, the feminine is starting to come in. It actually really started at the suffragette movement in the early 1900s, when women started wanting equal rights. To this day, I know people in telecom, for example, who, like, I have a good friend. We're still friends, and she's like the main purchasing person in South Dakota for all of North and South Dakota's cable television system. She makes over $90,000 a year, which she's happy with. But the person who had the job before that was a man making $135,000. And I thought, well, what the F? Why? And she's like, well, I'm happy with it. I don't want to rock the boat.
That's why she's only making 90 as opposed to 135, because women are afraid to rock the boat. Women are afraid to advocate for themselves. And like,
I got to back, and I'm the one that has to do it for them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen,
sort of.
I think that it's, I mean, of course, as a woman, and I worked in tech, by the way, and I worked in finance, and I've had many a life, right? Like, they say the average person has 5 careers.
Yeah.
I think I'm on like 12.
I've had more than that.
Probably.
My resume is Swiss cheese.
I find that I always made more than the men that I worked with because I was able to advocate for
myself.
Good for
you.
And
Good for you.
I'm a bitch, so it helps. Being a bitch is the solution. And it's interesting because I do love that. I love that women are becoming more and more empowered. However, I've worked with women, and I've worked for women, and I've dealt with women. And my concern with that is the people that are the cruelest to women are
women.
Women. And so
my mother said that in Alive After Dying. She actually said something different than what I say she said, but I couldn't actually say what she said because I don't want to cast aspersions on my mother. She's a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
I love my mother.
But
really do.
Nobody's perfect. And I think as we age, and I always tell our kids this, like, being an adult means knowing that your parents are imperfect human beings and loving and respecting them for the people that they are, like taking them off the mom and dad pedestal and realizing the people that they are. And you begin to have a new relationship with them. And it sounds like you have a good relationship with your mom.
I used to.
Oh, has she passed?
No, but she's got dementia, and as of July last year, she doesn't know who I am.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry that you're going through that.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Do you know how many times I've cried on this podcast? Like bawled, like a baby. You need to fall apart. We're here for you. And I'm so sorry that you were going through
that. Just to add a little to that, my dad was born in Italy and was a staunch Catholic. And when my mother became an accredited psychic with the Rosicrucians and the Edgar Cayce Foundation, she scared the crap out of him.
I'm sure he did.
Well, she scared the crap out of him. And he married her. It was his second marriage. So he got excommunicated from the Catholic Church. And when you marry someone, she was a Catholic, she got excommunicated for marrying someone who was on their second wife. So, but I don't know why, to the day, for the life of me, why they decided to have me raised in those traditions, and I was a troublemaker. I mean, well, I'm probably spoiling something for you in Alive After Dying, but I got whacked over the knuckles by a nun teaching catechism when I said, raise my hand. It's like, so people don't believe in Jesus, like, the Buddhists and the Brahmins, do they go to heaven too? And she just silently came over, whacked me over the hand, sent me home crying, bleeding knuckles. My mother was in there the next day. She wanted that nun out of there. Well, the Catholic Church is funny that way. They don't ever get rid of you. They just move you somewhere else.
Yeah, they move you, especially if you're a child molester. They're just gonna move you around. I'm from Fall River, we know all too well, right?
Okay. Yeah. So need I say more?
No.
So that's actually in Alive After Dying, but I won't say any more about that because there's a mystery behind that too. My book is written, the memoir is written like a mystery story, which is why my editors were really instrumental in helping me formulate it. Because, when you write a memoir, it is so hard to be objective about yourself. I started it with, my husband died. And the editor was like, well, are you going to write the whole book in flashbacks? And I thought, oh, yeah. And it's not very interesting that way. A lot of memoirs are written that way. And I thought, I don't want my memoir to be normal, whatever normal means. I just didn't want it to be typical. And it's not. It's very not. It's not. And it's full of satire. I'll just give you an example. It starts off with something about when tragedies strike, we're never prepared, which is why they're so unpredictably tragic. And then later in the chapter 1, I said something about children, like tragedies, are unpredictable. And a lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people thought it was funny. I did mean it funny, but I also mean it, I don't have children. And I admire people who do, because I'm a selfish person. See, I admit it. I'm a selfish person. And I think to be a parent, you need to be selfless. Their lives come ahead of yours. And I don't want anyone, I don't want a child's life to come ahead of mine. I wouldn't mind putting my boyfriend's life ahead of mine, but
that's so
sweet. Just to backtrack a little bit, so you never got your answer from when you were a kid and you asked those questions?
No.
Well,
I do now. I understand now.
How far was that kick down the road?
Well, actually, the question was, how did he know to ask those questions? Well, being an excommunicated Catholic, my mother was reading all kinds of literature. She had books on astral projection, hypnotism. I was 8 years old and these things are laying around the house. So naturally, I'm going to pick them up. And my father wasn't crazy about that, but he was just happy that I had a book in my hand and my nose in a dictionary.
And you were quiet.
Yeah, that was always
I was an only child from my parents. I have 5 half brothers and sisters. 2 of them have passed away. I have a brother who's a year older than my mother. My father was 23 years older than my mother. And how's this for irony? Not irony. I don't know what the word would be. Weirdness. My husband was 23 years older than me.
You like older men. I do too. It's interesting because our friend Anne, she's commented, she said, I would love to know more about your mother. She sounds very interesting. I'm glad I'm listening tonight. I'm glad you're listening tonight too, Anne. And I'm glad that we've got Peter on. But I got to tell you, we are running on time. We are running out. Peter, I could have you on a million times and I would love to. I wanted to just ask you real quick, because I know that there's people here that are following the podcast that are interested in your story, that are interested in your books. And there are also people that are interested in writing themselves. And of course, Anne has chimed in and said, Edgar Casey is very interesting. I don't know who Edgar Casey is, but that's good to know.
Virginia Beach. He was in the 60s. He was known as the Silent Prophet. He's the one that predicted that stuff about Atlantis.
Really cool.
Being found. Very interesting man, but he was a psychic and he'd go into trances and he'd do a lot of prophesying.
Interesting. And there's several people that are doing that now that I find to be, I just love to watch them and kind of speculate about it. It's interesting that you should say you grew up with this, this juxtaposition in your exposure. I had only Catholic. I was primarily raised by my grandparents in Somerset.
I will pray for you.
Please do. I was primarily raised by my grandparents in Somerset. I went to St. Anne's School in Fall River. Then I went to Coyle Cassidy in Taunton for high school. And despite not having those external influences, I asked the same questions, and I refused to make my confirmation, and I was basically like ostracized. I've always
confirmation.
Asked
confirmation.
Yeah, so the whole point of confirmation is you saying I want to be a Catholic, and I'm like, I don't believe in that.
Who was your sponsor? Who was your sponsor, Stacy?
Oh, it was.
Was it another Catholic? Because my sponsor was a Muslim who married one of my father's sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to mess with the Catholic, and I loved my uncle. I mean, he was a great guy.
Yeah. But it just wasn't for you. And I've got to give you credit for that, because like for me, I decided not to make my confirmation, and my family was like all mad. But then I have all these cousins, and my sister made their confirmation, but they never went to church again. And it's like, well, which is better, me following my conscience and knowing this isn't for me, or them doing it just to make you fucking happy? And then
I did it for the money.
Wait, so did you actually get confirmed?
Oh yeah, and I got a whole bunch of money for it. My father has 17 brothers and sisters with cousins and children. Oh my God, I had so much money at that thing. I totally did it for the money, and I say that in my book.
Please tell me that you spent that money on drugs and gay porn.
Probably. I don't remember, but probably.
Well, I hope you did. I wanted just to ask you real quick, if you, because we've got to wrap up, but I want to ask you to tell our viewers who may be interested in writing their own books, what advice you would have for them, and how do they find an editor, or do they just self-publish? And did you self-publish?
Okay. Best place to go for a resource would be Reedsy, REEDSY.com, or Goodreads.com. You can put in search criteria for the type of editor you're looking for. I needed developmental editors to find holes in the story and help you shape it. Then you have to have line editors to make sure that your grammar and all that's correct, copy editing for punctuation and the kinds of idioms that people use. Like, you got to make sure that people understand your book if they're not from this country. And then there's proofreading. But when I wrote my memoir, I did have a good friend who is an editor. She was way too expensive for me. She, very high profile person. I shouldn't mention her name because she's got way too much to do. All right, I'll mention her. Deanna Brady. She gave me a 10-day pass to a wonderful, these tickets were worth like hundreds of dollars. And this was during COVID when they did this online course. And it was like, 8-9 days long. Normally it would be the kind of thing you'd go to at a trade show and, walk around, go into classes and, you know what I mean? But this was online, so you get to see everything. And my advice to people wanting to write is, what do you want to write? And look up online courses, because I had to understand the difference, like I said, between the difference of a memoir and an autobiography. I didn't really know. How much do you include in your story? Well, what's it about? Well, it's about me. Well, what about you? And, if you want to write your entire story, that's going to be a few volumes. And I've decided that, after I cried to my friend in Virginia about, I think I said too much in A Live After Dying, he's like, no, it's really good. Yeah, so say you. I thought I was really ruining myself, but I'm at the point in life where I'm retired. I'm not going to be looking for another job. Nobody needs to hire me, so why not?
Yeah, that was kind of how doing the podcast. We let our freak flags fly because, like, what's going to happen? It's going to go on our permanent record. So we try to be ourselves as much as possible and as authentic as possible. And I think, especially in this world of, digitization and AI, that people are craving human connection and authenticity. And what a perfect way to sum up this conversation that we've had today. And I just wanted to ask real quick, when you did your, so you've hired editors to help you with the book. It's not like you go find an editor, they take you on, they offer you a book advance. Like most people.
No, I self-published. I didn't go to I tried writing 150 plus letters to literary agents, and 3 of them wrote back to me and said, your book is too genre. I said, what the hell is genre? Genre is like what? Historical fiction, science fiction, memo? What is genre? Genre is like a thing. And they're like, you're in too many categories. You're a mystery. You're almost fictional. You write about parapsychology. You write about a lot of different things. So I self-published. I'm trying to be humble here, but not everybody is a good investor. I used to do financial advising, so I am a good investor. and I was able to afford to do that.
Mhm.
Live After Dying was $7,300 in production costs.
Jeez.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. Have
Now
you recouped that?
Sci-Fi,
Have you recouped that?
no, I
Well,
don't know.
everybody go out and buy
Actually,
Peter's
I
book.
was talking to my friend who's flying in, and I told him, I said, I wrote that book not even intending it for being like a hit,
Yeah.
and it's becoming a hit. I didn't know that books took 2 years to become. It's been out since June of 2022. I came out with it because June 1st was Gay Pride Month, and I thought, oh, I'm targeting the LGBTQ audience. They hated it. I had a friend call me and said, your book sucked. I'm like, could you tell me why? And he goes, there's no erotica. It's like PG-13. But you do kind of go off the deep end with the, doing the drugs and all that.
Gay men, they love to talk about the dick. That's why I get along so well with gay
I
men.
don't do that in Alive After Dying. So the book was very popular amongst heterosexual people. They thought I destigmatized the LGBTQ demographic. And that's what they liked about it. And if you look at my reviews, there's, 23, 24 reviews on Amazon in America, 20 in England, Goodreads. I'm all over the world. I mean, it's suddenly an international book. Hormonal Menagerie, the first book was released last October, and I'm not J.K. Rowling, so I'm not going to make you wait a year. So that's why I just released book 2.
And then book 3 will be when?
We'll see it before. I don't want to give a date. In fact, that was one of the things I said on my last podcast. I said book 2 would be out in February, and it came out in May. You can never,
Next year sometime, hopefully.
No, well, I'm going to try, because I told you there's a thing about 2025 in one of my favorite writers, Alice Bailey, that is happening. It's about the group consciousness, the feminine polarity coming into being. And I'd like to see it out before the end of this year. I would like to. I don't know if it will, but I would like to. So and I've already written the beginning and the end. I've written some of the middle, but I gotta think about how much do I want to say. Like how much do I want to put in there? I mean, I could make another 4 volumes out of it. In fact, a friend of mine who the first book is dedicated to, Michael Sean Webb, he says, you should write he's from Tennessee. You should write a 7-book series on this. I said, Sean, I said, I don't feel like writing this until I'm like 85. Yeah, He said, we've been writing it for so many years now. And I'm like, yeah, which is pretty much why I want to finish it.
But you did. That's something to be so incredibly proud of. Doug actually just put out his first album. Like, even just accomplishing that in itself is incredible. Like, I'm so proud of you, not to be like condescending because you're like older than me.
A music album?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Before we go, Busted, I'm so sorry. My cat is sitting on my list. You wanted to know my top 10 albums.
Oh, yeah. Did you write them?
Yes, I did.
Fire it off, because we got to wrap up. It's a perfect way to wrap up.
Queen 2, yes, Close to the Edge. Beatles' White Album.
Yes.
Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes.
Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery. Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. Yes. The Who, Quadrophenia. Yep. David Bowie, Low, and everything by Billie Eilish, and everything by Kate Bush.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so Peter, it's so funny because I wanted to come into this blind and kind of get to know you with the audience. And I'm so glad that we did it that way. But now I'm like, I could talk to you for hours. You just
have me on again.
We will. And I just really love your energy, and I love that. I have a soft spot in my heart for gay men in particular, especially because our son, Doug's son, my stepson, is a gay man, and I just love whenever there's positive male, and of course there's so many, but positive male role models within the gay community. I'm always trying to tell Nolan that he can, do and be anything that he wants to be, and that there's so many positive gay role models out there for him. Not that it matters who you fuck, but it just makes me happy that there's people like you that are so successful and doing such amazing things, that are such positive role models for him, and non-traditional role models. Like, you don't have to be this masculine, like, not that you're not masculine, because you are, but like, you don't have to be this stereotypical idea that we have of masculinity. I love that men today, I think that strong men today and men today who are changing the world are the men who embrace the feminine energy and the feminine power, and are comfortable with themselves and don't have to swing their dicks around and smack it in people's faces unless people ask you to smack them in the face with their dick. And I hope you get to do that on June 4th.
I would say the thing I really take away from you, Peter, is that
I'm never going to live this down. We're going to talk to each other right after this.
Probably not.
The fact that your life has been like such a journey. You've done so many different things and embraced so many different things and learned so many different things, and then you're offering that back to the world in your own interpretation of music and poetry and
it's absolutely amazing.
And books.
I want to get your album, Doug. You got to tell me what the name of it
we'll
is.
shoot it to you.
It's Doug Gear Songs 1 through 10, but I'll send it to you, and I will send Doug Gear Songs 1 through 10. I have to send him something else. I can't remember what.
And it's funny too, because when you were talking about reviews and things, it's funny, from the people that I expected, like, hey, I like this one, I don't like that one, or whatever. I didn't get any of that, so I don't know if they like it or not. And then the other thing is that when you say genre, my album On Purpose has gone like, there's a country song, there's a pop song, there's a punk song, like it goes through the different thing, and I did that on purpose. And I think that's probably like, I'll probably get that same
feedback,
feedback from somebody in the.
I have a friend, Catherine Grimm, and she came out with an album like that with like every single genre, and she called it Everything But the Kitchen Sink.
I love that.
Yeah.
I hate this idea and I think that that's such a corporate thing because they want to learn how to package you. But I think that the beauty of what we do here on the podcast, the beauty of Doug's album, the beauty of your books is that it brings something for everyone. And it's not in this specific box. And I think it tells, by doing that, by being your authentic self, which is a complicated person, right? Like, I think anybody who's interesting is incredibly complicated, that by doing so, it lets people know, hey, be yourself, be who you are. You don't have to fit into any one mold. You're a unique individual and you have so much to offer the world. And
we're all multifaceted.
Absolutely.
Every one of us.
And as we say goodnight to you, I show our viewers once again your books. It's like the third time I pulled them up on screen. And of course, we will link to your website on our page for anybody who wants to know more about Peter. And of course, we'll probably have him on the pod again. And Peter, if people are interested in your books, they can find them on Amazon and then reach out to you through your website. Your social medias are there and whatnot. And they can follow you.
Yes, they can. Please.
Okay,
well,
cool.
No, they can't call me, but please email me or write to me. I'm kind of a private person.
So on the socials, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull you off screen now. If you happen to have a minute, go to the Facebook and just comment with all your links. And then I won't have to look for them and they'll be there for everybody while they're thinking of it. And we love you so much and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Stacey, Doug. It's been a pleasure.
Everybody go out and buy Peter's books. I know I'm going to be buying Alive After Dying. I cannot wait to read it. And then I'm going to talk to Peter and pick his brain about every line of that book. Love you so much, sweetheart. You have a wonderful night. And we will be counting down the days till June 4th.
Oh, God. Okay.
We're living vicariously. Bye. Wow, what a great chat.
That was
so we have
fun. That was a lot different than our normal chit chat that we have on a given night.
Certainly, normally we're fucked up and talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and we got deep.
We got a little deep, but I think everybody here actually has either had or had a lot of those questions, or has that same sort of outlook into the stuff in their lives. Like,
well, I think the thing that was interesting about listening to Peter talk, and I do want to get to comments, but the thing that was interesting is Peter's kind of like, he's got all of this information. He's kind of all over the place like me. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love that his energy has a great spirituality, but he's someone like you could talk to for days and days and days and hours and hours and hours and just learn so much from. Like, I just want to sit with him and like a bottle of wine. Not that I'm a drinker, but like I do. I just want to. Because
I have friends like that are, and I would say, like I want to say intellectual. That's not probably the right word, but like there's just a wealth of knowledge.
Peter's not just, but Peter's not just.
But there's life experiences.
But he's got like this. What was the word you used? I'm sorry.
Academic.
While he has an academic side to him,
it's more than that. Yeah.
And I see the academic side to him. I believe that he has this like. Somehow like this ethereal kind of quality that I just love. And I just want to bottle him up and just, I don't know, just drink him. And so maybe we'll do that next time he comes to the podcast. And then of course, Anne talks about Edgar Cayce being very interesting. She talks about Sleeping Prophet. Court says, I'm back, bitches. Court was probably putting her kids to bed.
She was backbenches in the middle of a deep philosophical, theological, and
well, it was interesting because Peter talked about how he doesn't have kids and how he's selfish. Court's got 6.
That's about as selfless as you can be.
And listen, I loved having kids. It was the greatest thing I've ever done. It was I believe I was meant to be a mom, and maybe my children feel differently. I don't know, but I will say that having our life now where we're empty nesters and everything is about us, like sometimes I'm like, wow, like there were other options. I didn't have to get married and have a family. Like I could have just worried about me. And so now finally at 47 years old and 58 years old, we're starting to focus on ourselves. And I've talked long and hard many, many times about writing a story about my life. Of course, Peter has inspired me. I have so much content and I would just have to fucking bring it down. And I don't know that I could afford an author, an editor that would take all of our content and bring
be able
it down.
to make sense of it.
It's just,
I just really appreciate anybody that's like kind of gone through that like gauntlet of like he was in telecom and then he was in, and then he just found his way and found a passion. And I think, kind of, and I've been through that a little bit like lately with like, whether design, like I did design and creative my entire career. To keep the roof over the head and all that stuff. And now that's like seemingly harder to do with design work. So we're putting a lot of work into the podcast.
We're putting a lot of work into the podcast.
And my music. And it's a different, a different way. And so it's super scary for me anyways.
Oh yeah.
But the fact that he's done it, and obviously he seems to have had the financial means to.
Well, he done well in telecom, and that it certainly helps. But like we're in a position right now where we don't have anything coming except my disability, which is like nothing, and we're working on the podcast like pretty much 24 hours a day. So we do have a little safety net, but we're taking a really big leap right now. And I encourage everybody out there, if there's a dream that you have, take the leap. I mean, that was a conversation you had with Sean yesterday. When we were down in Goodland, he was telling you just keep, just
like
keep at it.
Like he was like,
it
was like, be you,
your authentic self. And that was the same message that we got from Muck Sticky. And so that's the message we're giving you here on the podcast. Like, I'm sure that, you've got flaws. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect.
I only look perfect.
In any
Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Courtney.
And Courtney has had enough to smoke today.
Oh,
Thank
maybe,
you.
maybe.
But
maybe
I think that the key point here is, we want you to be yourself, and we love and accept you for who you are. And we know you're a work in progress, just like we are. And everybody loves you that's here.
That's not what they mean when they call you a piece of work. It's not what they mean.
What do they mean?
They say you're a piece of work.
Yes, people do say I'm a piece of work. They say a lot of things about me. You know what? At least they're talking about me. Are they talking about you? No.
Well, they might be talking about our watchers. They're fantastic.
Well,
people.
Yeah, the people that come
it's
to
the people
this podcast,
that don't watch.
And we didn't really even talk about this tonight, but the podcast, I absolutely love these people. And we have a comment here from our friend Randall, one of the haters that's here night after night. I don't know if Tracy's decided he's a master hater yet or not, but he says, my Uncle Benny Fair started at the parapsychology at the U of Minnesota. He passed 2 years ago. I'm so sorry for your uncle. Cool. If he started parapsychology and he's dead, can he communicate with us inquiring minds?
He's probably working on it, like whatever. So parapsychology, right?
Yeah.
Is pull up the definition for that, because I don't want to say things are part of it that aren't.
Is a field of study concerned with the investigation and studies the paranormal. So telepathy, clairvoyance, and psychokinesis. I have what's called what do you call it when you it's I was told recently, not that I was an empath, but that I was clairsentient.
Clairsentient, yes, you were mentioning that.
People have mentioned that to me recently. Listen, I don't know. I know that in my life, I'm seeing this synchronicity, a lot of things connecting. Like Peter's just some random person off the internet. He's not just some random person. Obviously, he's an extraordinary man who's doing extraordinary things in his life. But I came to him as just like we connected randomly on the internet. what are the odds that Doug is talking about a blue marble and he's talking about a blue marble and we're from New England and he's from New England. I lived in the next town over from him, but he lives in California now. And like, just what are the odds? And y'all know how much we love the LGBTQs. I keep talking about having my gay men's panel, and here we have wonderfully accomplished gay man. I would love to have him on the gay men's panel, although he does try to keep his act together.
Maybe he could be like the chancellor or something of the panel.
Yeah,
like, so the panel can be like a bunch of yahoos.
And he can be like, okay, boys, settle down. Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Take off
but I would
the
ask,
shirt.
I would ask the all the haters that watch, do you like the guests or do you like our banter better? And because we have no end of banter, but I think bringing stuff in and helping others out is pretty cool. So
we love to support other, we love to support other creators. And if you're here watching tonight, we want to know how we can support you. And of course, if you're not following, please follow, like, share, subscribe, do those things because it helps us. And then let us know how we can help you. If you follow us on a social, and our socials are on the bottom of the screen, you follow us on the social, we'll follow you back. You put them in the comments, people will follow you back. If you come to the podcast night after night, you will become friends with these people. So there have been several new people tonight. I believe they're all friends of Peter's. And
no, I think they were friends of Hookah Bob too.
Oh, and one of Hookah Bob's friends as well. Do us the solid. Keep coming back. Make friends. Be part of the community. I can tell you that everyone here is very different. And these people are just all amazing. They have the best energy and they're coming together. And I really want to read about this. I actually Googled it so I could read about Alice Bailey and what she believes for 2025. I've earmarked that. And I had a bunch of other stuff I wanted to go over. We just kind of went over with Peter tonight.
Yeah, we did.
But that's okay. I loved talking to him. So it was cool. So, I want everybody to think about, and of course we do gratitude at the end of the episode every night. And we're going to do that momentarily. But I want everybody to think about what it is that you want from your life and what it is that you want from this podcast and what this podcast can do to make your life better. So if we can give you a place to come where you have people that love and support you and encourage you and laugh together and we have a good time and there's no judgment, then keep doing that. And if you're
that's a good point, because Randall's saying I'm an empath. I'm totally alone right now dealing with my own emotions. Well, sometimes that's a good thing and you need to do that. But I think the podcast can kind of, and I think it does for us to a certain, gives us some community and makes you feel less alone. And hopefully it entertains you in some way. You laugh at us or with us. It doesn't matter. But we have our little friends, and we missed everybody last night because we weren't here.
Well, yeah, it was rough. We did miss you guys, and we had a great time. But the whole time, I'm thinking about you guys. It's just so weird.
We want to take you guys with us wherever we go.
And it's not always. We didn't even have cell signal there. We couldn't even get a text out.
It was a swamp down there.
I do want to say though to Randall. First of all, I'm high, so I'm going to be completely useless. Uh-oh. But I am around tomorrow if you need to talk. But I would also encourage you to journal. Get a journal.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else that started with a J.
Oh yeah, you should jerk off and journal. Do it at the same time.
Don't do it into the journal.
So are you a righty or lefty?
You should be careful about what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing a completely see-through sarong as a dress right now. You can see everything. But you could jerk and write at the same time. But that's like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. I don't. Look, can you?
I don't think you want to do both at the same time.
I'm gonna just.
Okay,
it's not a pen, but
no.
All right. Oh, I can do it.
You can do it?
Yeah, I can do it.
You could. You're multi-dex.
So if I had a penis,
dexterous.
I could jerk off and journal at the same time. You can do it too.
Well, the big thing is you'd have to grow a penis, and I think that takes 6 to 8 months.
They do that with the hormones.
But you have to have penis seeds implanted.
They give you a bunch of hormones, and your clit turns into a dick. Boom, Bob's your uncle. What? That's how they do it. What? I don't know how your Uncle Bob would feel about
Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. So we have had many a person here tonight that we absolutely love. Thank you all so much for coming. Randall Platty, the pansexual polyamorous platypus. He's on the schedule to be a guest. It might even be tomorrow. Matthew, thank you so much for coming.
Yes, welcome.
Hookah Bob is our pal. We love him. Y'all give Hookah Bob a follow on the socials.
Clicked on Hey P4 over there. Yeah, just take that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that didn't need to be here. Thank you. Tracy was here. I always saw her for
here.
a second. She said hi. She was just quiet tonight. Randall, Courtney. I think we're all kind of enthralled by Peter. And Jen, Corey, Nicole,
Jeremy was here.
Jeremy, and we have to,
Jeremy.
before we wrap up, I cannot forget all the amazing people here. Oh, and our friend Cheryl gave us a heart.
Go
Bills. Derek Mayer's here. Little Tommy Millmore, Todd White. But we're all going to sing a little ditty for our friend Nicole. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nicole. Happy birthday to you. If you would like, next year we won't sing to you because our singing's so terrible. But Doug's better. Doug will sing to you.
Yeah, if I could just, I could just prepare something. Maybe a backing track.
Randall says we should do a Toxic Avenger movie night with communicating. I'm totally down with that. Does anybody else
show it though?
We can't show it, but we could all do like a group thing where we watch the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, hit play now.
If anybody wants to do that over the weekend, let's set it up. Randall, if it's just me and you and Doug, that's fine too. We do have a lot of podcast shit to get done in the next week, but we'll figure it out. So tune in tomorrow. I don't know if we have a guest or not. We do have a lot of topics that we want to get in. Matthew says Doug is pretty good. I don't know if you've heard his album. He's excellent. His album, Doug Gear Songs 1 through 10, is available wherever there's music. He's incredibly talented. He actually wrote, performed, produced our theme song. And the album is just amazing. It's a 30-minute listen.
Appreciate it, Matthew.
It's on all the platforms. Check it out. We would love to hear your feedback. I think he should tour with it. That's been a lot of what my mind's been
we're talking about that
on.
for the last 24 hours.
Is just how can we continue to do the podcast and have Doug do his music and pay our bills all at the same
time.
If
you got a guest host that was like I don't know, sexy 58-year-old man?
Well, you are a sexy 50-year-old.
Well, yeah, I would have to be out doing the music. Yeah, you'd have to get somebody else.
Let me tell you some sexy men that I would love to have be my guest on the podcast. Fucking Sean. I fucking love Sean. I love Sean. Actually, it was so funny too because when he shook my hand with his like big old mitt, he's got hands. And I'm
he plays a 5-string bass, and it just makes it look so easy.
I know, but I was so inappropriate, and I feel bad.
You were a little, he's a nice.
I'm like, damn, you're gonna break a girl.
He's a nice guy.
If I was trying to flirt, I wouldn't know how though. That's my problem. But Sean, I love him. I love Alan. I loved Peter. I could. Larry the pool guy or the cool guy.
Larry the pool guy would be a good guest.
There's so many fucking people that I would have on the podcast night after. Fucking Hookah Bob. I love Hookah Bob.
Bob is great, but
Hookah
Bob's got his own thing. Like I don't think you and Hookah Bob could like your force fields would kind of like
we're like the sun and the moon in orbit of one another.
But and it's all good.
We're totally different vibes, and we inspire one another.
Yeah.
And I'm just it's like.
But at the heart of everything. There's a kinship.
I'm in love with Hookah Bob, but not in love like I'm in love with you, but like I'm just in love with him. Like I just want to eat him up. I think he's so amazing. But I feel that way about everybody that's here. Like I'm so blessed to have all of you amazing haters, master haters in our lives. Like I just can't. I love you all, and I think about you when we're not with you.
It sounds creepy.
It's I know, but it's like
you're telling Randall to jerk off with one hand and journal with the other.
Yeah, I'm thinking about him doing that right now. I have a mental picture.
Well, that kind of
he's got his 6-pack abs, and he's like, maybe he's taking one of the fruits from his garden and he's putting it in the pooper. I don't know what he's doing, but he's having a good time, and that's all I care about. I ask that everybody just hold one another in your hearts. Just know that this is a safe place, and we want you to come night after night. We want you to be a part of the community. We love you so much. And we're all grateful for you, all of the people that came. I'm grateful for you.
I'm also grateful for you.
I'm grateful. Oh, friendship
for everyone.
I'm grateful for a pool that I floated around today. I'm grateful for that amazing show last night. I'm going to get the names wrong. Joanna, J-Rock.
Yep.
Lil John, Dilby Lil John. And Sean, and we are
and we met a nice lady last night who enjoyed the show quite a bit.
Well, a little donkey.
And
but she left her 9-year-old at home and
she came because she'd heard so many good things about the act, so it's all good.
Well, she actually was a regular there and then found out that there was a band and she wanted to stay to hear them, and she stayed all night. And then the rich guys that had 5 martinis each and were high-fiving us I think one of them was going to go home with her. I don't know how that went,
Well,
but it was drama.
The best part about those 3 guys is that
shit.
they had some money between them, and
they tipped our friends.
I'm like, hey, go hit the tip jar.
Yeah, they put a hundy in.
Put a hundy. We put all right.
We put some money in too. Wasn't a hundy, but
wasn't a hundy.
It was some money. I do want to also just shout out to I met Lauren and Sharon. Were at the table next to me. They were really nice ladies. They were super nice. Elisa was the lady that that was having a good time for herself.
Yeah.
And then of course Caitlin, the bartender and our server, she was absolutely amazing. And
Courtney, I have a beef with Courtney. She had just posted something 30 minutes ago. Are you going to focus on this, or are you going to
pay attention,
be posting?
Courtney?
Good Lord.
And then Randall says, should do talk. Yeah, we got that. And he's saying LOL. And then of course, happy birthday, Nicole, from Tracy. Happy birthday, Nicole. Hopefully I'll get your package.
Yeah.
I actually am sending you a little extra something with your sticker. It's just a little something that you might appreciate.
It's a little something.
Just a
little naked picture of me. You should like it.
Framed and autograph. No, it's just a little extra something that I thought you would appreciate. You guys, will see you tomorrow night. It's 10:05. You didn't do your gratitude yet.
I did. Well, great show last night. Great drive down there. A great drive back. Just fantastic. And thankful we had guests. Thankful you guys all hung through that, because it wasn't our normal show.
It was different. Sure. It was very different, but it was good.
What else am I thankful for? Oh, our guests got home. Our house guests left yesterday, and they got home safe. And
oh my God, she put $100 in the guest book. We used it to pay for dinner last night. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate that. And today,
you don't have to give us money if you stay with us. You could just give us money when you're at home.
Yeah, whatever. Just buy us a sandwich. Give me a peanut butter jelly. Also thankful that I had a little bit of window of time today to kind of catch up on laundry and pick up the house a little, so it wasn't so disheveled.
I love you. Thank you. So while I was out in the pool floating around with my titties hanging out, you were cleaning.
But no, because I'd have to walk by this window and I'd be like, oh, titties.
And what was I doing?
You were doing all
podcast stuff. Yeah, I float around the pool and do podcast stuff, working my ass off.
Responding and reaching out.
I have to thank you guys for interacting with all the socials that we have been posting. The more you like, comment, share, the more it helps us. Of course, Doug had made a comment about how he wasn't spitting on anyone's balls. And Hookah Bob said, Hookah Bob said, you've made it when you've got somebody to spit on your balls. I do that for him. I mean, usually just put them right in there, but sometimes. And then we did an FMK with Sinbad and Dwayne Wayne, Kadeem Harrison, and
the little sidekick
Ron Johnson, Daryl M. Bell from A Different World, and nobody answered but me. I wanted to marry Sinbad, fuck Kadeem, because I always thought he was hot and killed the third guy.
Yeah, Sinbad is good, and he's not doing well. I think he had a stroke or something. He's not doing well these days. Yeah, but I think he's on the comeback trail, but he's walking with a walker or a cane or something. And I just saw something about it, and I saw him live, and he was funny and clean.
He's hilarious.
And like topical for the.
He was clean.
Oh, he was crazy clean, and he was talking about Worcester, and if you know anything about Worcester, there's 290 and 190. At one point, they go both ways at the same time.
Yes, I know that part.
Yeah, and same with
train Worcester.
Yeah, right, and the same thing in on 95, where it comes 95 south when you're actually going north.
Massachusetts is fucked up.
It's a messed up place.
I do not miss it, but I do miss my friends there. Of course, you had a manatee weather that people loved. I do feel like we did the things I put on Doug, and I put a razor on your hand. It was a Gillette razor, and we use Harry's.
Yeah, Harry's
we prefer Harry's. Yeah. Procter & Gamble, not necessarily a company I want to support.
Although Gillette employs a lot of people in Boston, so
they've also laid off a lot of people in Boston and moved a lot of people, and then as a corporation, they a lot of their products are not safe to use, and so we just tell you always to purchase with your conscience.
What are you gonna do?
And look at the products that you're purchasing. Like I had quickly looked up the Color Street lipstick, and it got an all clear from Momavation, but before I could I should really look up every single ingredient, because I do like to be careful about what I use and what I recommend. We are going to be soon doing a shop. Actually, I fucked up and started a TikTok shop, and I don't even know what I'm doing with it, but we will have a store on our website. There are products to come. We're going to actually have a marital hate bong. partnership with Hookah Bob. We will have several branded products, but we'll also be bringing in products that we personally use and love to help us to be able to support the podcast. If you buy it through our link or Amazon, doesn't make any difference to you. We make a couple bucks. We can keep the lights on. And of course, for those of you who weren't paying attention, I did ask Courtney if she takes it in the pooper, and she does not. What's happening over there? Oh, it's just a palm, I think.
It's noisy.
Of course, we showed everyone a picture of Tracy's pussy, and
that was it.
Well, we had a couple,
and we got hate mail from dog lovers.
Our quote from yesterday was, "Yes, you can use my pussy tomorrow." We do have some hate mail screenshots that I saved. We're gonna have to do them tomorrow.
To do this tomorrow because there's some really good stuff.
We're way over on time. Just real quick, Doug, would you rather read only romance novels or only watch reality dating shows for a year? I know your answer.
Reality dating shows.
We love that shit. We've been watching Real Housewives. We've been watching Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We got stuff about that. And then, of course, we did FMK with the ladies of A Different World, which was the character's name was Jaleesa, but the woman's name is Dawn Lewis. I don't know what else she's been in. Denise Huxtable, played by Lisa Bonet. And then, of course, Maggie Lawton, who was written off after the first season.
Yeah.
She was Marissa Tomei.
Bless you.
Which one?
Oh, they're very easy. You fuck Lisa Bonet, marry Marissa Tomei because she's hot as fuck. And
she's so sweet.
And get rid of the other one just because I don't really know her.
If you haven't seen, of course, Marissa Tomei, My Cousin Vinny, unbelievable. But I loved her in Untamed Heart with Christian Slater.
I love her and everything.
Sweet. And she's in The Handmaid's Tale, believe it or not.
I love her on my jock.
Did you know that she was in
No, I did not know that.
Handmaid's
Tale? I don't want to know anything about Handmaid's Tale because it's horrifying.
It is a depressing show. And of course, I asked if you cried. I cried easily. I do. And then Doug had a picture of some old dude. I had no idea who it was.
Mitch Miller.
No idea.
Look him up.
Mitch Miller is. You're probably old too.
Sing along with Mitch. He had a show, and he played songs, and he sang along with him, and they had a bouncing ball across the bottom of the thing. So
something to look into. Trace says, I missed that FMK. She says, nice, bless you, thank you. I'm gonna need like 5 bless yous because I'm having some sort of a fit. And then she says, Tracy, My Cousin Vinny is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Fred Gwynn is so good in that movie.
He's the judge.
Herman Munster, yeah. He's so good in that movie. He was like his last role too.
Everything about that movie. Meanwhile, my biological clock is ticking like this because she's like, he hasn't proposed yet.
Yeah, it's just everything. The Utes,
her hair,
the one,
Pause Attraction.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And I actually knew what Pause Attraction was before that, so it made even more sense to me.
Let me tell you something. I have trouble, neurologically. I'm all fucked up because of the Lyme lesions in the brain. I have trouble following things, but I will obtain the most obscure knowledge from watching a reality show or some other nonsense because I'll be watching it and I'll be like, oh, well, what about this? And I'll start looking it up because I'm always, I'm Gen X, right? We were always told, look it up.
Look it up, motherfuckers.
Okay, I want to say this about the lipstick is that it has faded significantly. The NARS is far more long lasting.
You've been flapping your lips.
I have been
all night.
They're both a little drying, but our house and environment, despite the fact that half the time the air is soup, is kind of dry because I left a contact lens out overnight in like saline, but no top on it. Evaporated overnight. It's Crunch Fest. It's like a little contact lens raisin. If anybody wants a contact lens raisin, let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
And then Trace says pollen count is really high this week. It's spring.
So am I.
It's spring, and we haven't had any rain. I could see it. The pollen raining down in the pool cage yesterday. I remember telling you. You have anything else to say?
I got nothing else to say. But thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you
tomorrow. Love you, and we'll see you when we see you. No, we'll see you tomorrow. We're not going anywhere this time.
Yeah, we'll be.
We've had enough fun. We're coming back. We're
here.
dedicating, and we're going to bring the fun. Is what we're going to do.
We will bring the fun.
See ya.